What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode and live stream of Let's Get Nuts here on the Ben Thomas Show. Today is an exciting show, guys, because for our channel members, we do have a King Shark giveaway at the end of the show, so stick around. We have 33 ducks competing against each other to see who will take that King Shark home. But we got some Hot Toys news, and we got a lot of entertainment news to cover today. So guys, stick around. If you like the video, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show, and of course, let's get nuts.
What are you doing? You're completely outnumbered here. Are you nuts? You want to get nuts? You want to get nuts?
You want to get nuts?
You want to get nuts? You want to get nuts? Come on. Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
I am so happy to see all of you guys rolling in the chat. Thank you so much for being here today with us on Sunday. It's a nice day outside, and I'm sitting in here with blackout curtains. No wonder I'm so freaking pasty. You hate to see it. You just absolutely hate to see it. But let's talk to some dudes who look real good with a little color on their faces and some smiles. We got Jose G. Hernandez, Jose Plus. Good to see you, buddy. How's it going today?
Pretty good, man. It's Sunday. It's a nice morning I'm having so far. It's a WrestleMania weekend. Today's yes. WrestleMania Sunday, so yeah, pretty good day so far.
You had said, I think, at one point that you might not even be able to make it on today because of WrestleMania.
Yeah,
was there a gap, or?
No. Well, there's some time, so we got some time before the show starts. So,
gotcha. You know. So if you slip out, I know why.
Exactly.
Sounded dirtier than I intended. Jose, happy that you're here, buddy. Happy that you're here. Thanks for joining us. We also need to class this stream up a little bit, let's be honest. Some may know him as SpongeBob Square Bowels, but I know him as Classy Thomas. How you going, buddy? Good to see you.
I am doing great, and I need to get this green glow off of me. Oh, there you go. Much better. There you go.
Way better.
But yeah. I'm doing good today. Doing good. Just kind of chilling, enjoying Sunday in North Carolina, and it's sunny outside. The weather is cool, but it's not cold anymore. I mean, it's just kind of breezy. It's starting to warm up, and lots of sunshine, so I'm loving it.
That's awesome, buddy.
Loving it.
Backstage, I was asking Classy how his day has been, and he's like, I just had a nap. I feel rested. Like, I got the lights on. Everything's good. So you're happy to hear it. And I just realized we're kind of like the evolution of like our beard growth right now. Like Jose's still really nice and dark and trim. I'm getting the grays here pretty hardcore all of a sudden for some reason. You hate to see it. And then Classy, you got that little bit of gray patch down below, bud. So
a little bit, I think it's a lot of it.
That's awesome, man. So happy to have you here.
I don't want to have to use, what's that stuff they used to sell, Grecian formula, or that stuff
just for men.
Just for men.
Yeah.
Just for men.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of settling myself into the gray. I think the gray feels good at this stage of my life.
Dude, I'm only 36 and I'm getting pretty gray. But my dad was fully gray by the time he was 27, so it was aggressive.
My mom had this my mother used to have this beautiful silver patch. I used to call it the skunk patch. And when she progressed a little bit further, it started growing up through there, and I always wanted that strip, but I never got it. So I don't know. I might get a little bleach and make myself my own little patch and stop wearing my hat. You never know.
What did you call her? The skunk strip?
Yeah, that little. She used to have a strip that went back.
Yeah,
that was pure white.
And being a comic fan, you didn't think Rogue, you didn't think anything. You went straight to skunk.
Well, not really. My mom wasn't really quite roguish.
Yeah,
but if I came up to her and called her Rose, she might slap me across the face. So
Oh, fair.
Because she wouldn't know. You don't want to call your mom. You're pretty rogue.
Gotta be careful. Yeah, you gotta be careful. That's fair. Yeah, I didn't think about it that way. No, seriously, she's a comic character. So, that's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks, everybody. I see all you rolling in. I'm gonna say hi to everybody here in a couple minutes, as we normally do here on the show. We're gonna get started with some warm-up topics. We actually have more entertainment news, honestly, today than figure news, but that's okay, because I got my boys here, and we're just going to have some fun talking about some random stuff. So, for the first warm-up topic today, I want to talk about theaters, because I've gone to the theater now twice over the last 2 weeks, I think, actually, and both experiences were horrible. I ended up going to, here in Canada, it's a Cineplex Cineplex theater, and for whatever reason, Cineplex now just, they don't have like the nice wingback seats where you know, like got the electronic like footrests and all of that stuff. It's like still like the old school seats, kind of from when that amphitheater seating kind of got started. The problem is that the seat that I got, which of course you pay for in advance, so you have no idea, was absolutely devastated. Like this thing was like, it was so badly broken. And I was there for Dune 2, which is like nearly a 3-hour movie. So freaking uncomfortable. But the screen also felt really small. And so I started thinking about just what my preference is with regards to theaters and screen sizes. And Variety was reporting here recently that the success of Oppenheimer over the last months and Dune Part 2, which earned like a huge amount of their ticket sales from the IMAX, demonstrates the force of that IMAX brand. When the audiences go to movies, they are overwhelmingly choosing to see films in IMAX. In the process, IMAX with its sprawling screens and carefully calibrated sound systems have become the gold standard for ticket buyers. So I was curious if you guys actually agreed with this. When you think about, like, I'm going to go to the movies tonight, I'm going to treat myself, because let's be honest, that shit is expensive and it's not getting any cheaper. What is your screen of preference? Do you have a theater, a chain of preference? I'd love to hear from you guys. And of course, mine's a little different. Here in Canada, I go to Landmark Cinemas most, and usually it's actually just the standard Dolby screen. But they're the most comfortable seats, the sound is still really crispy, and the screen is pretty good. What are your thoughts, Jose?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of just depends. Going to the movie theaters is expensive nowadays, right? So you're spending a lot of money, on average about $20 now, right? Depending on these premium screens. So it depends. I think a lot of the audience wants to go to the movies, but they want to make sure that their dollar is valued, especially for those prices. So, you know, I've made mention of this before in terms of like the Rotten Tomatoes era, right? The era that we live in now, where people are checking to see if the critical reception is there, the audience is there, and if they make a strong case for watching it in a premium screen like IMAX, like Dune 2 or other, you know, and a Christopher Nolan film, you know, things like that, Oppenheimer, or, you know, if they make a strong case that you need to watch it that way, I feel that you feel more compelled to. Like Oppenheimer, to this day, I mean, I went and I saw it. One of 8 IMAX 7mm screens are here in Orange County in Irvine. There's the Spectrum. It has one of, I think, 8 that plays it in 70mm. So I saw Oppenheimer that way, but it took me a while. It took me several weeks to be able to see it that way, because it was just booked every showing. And we're talking about like every showing. So there was like a 7, and then there's like 11 p.m. showing, and the 11 p.m. showings would be sold out sometimes. So we're talking about people staying up to watch that movie. It was a 3-hour movie to watch it because they felt they needed to, because that's how they sold that, right? They sold it and really watched it in the big, watch it in the biggest screen possible. So, you know, ultimately, you know, looking back on it, you know, could I have had the same experience maybe watching it in Adobe or something similar? I think perhaps. I don't think it was mandatory, but you wanted to watch it that way because the filmmakers were really pushing it that way. That's how it was filmed. That's how it was supposed to be watched. And so you go and you make that little extra, especially if the movie's getting praise. You know, it's getting critical and audience receptions for that particular film. So. Totally. In terms of favorites, I mean, I tend to go, you know, in terms of economic, you know, like, sure, you know, what's economic? Well, you know, I have a local, I go to a local theater, a standard screen, and they have recliners on every showing. So whether it's a standard or premium screen, they have recliners, and it's usually about $8 or $9 for a standard, and then the premium screens is about $12 US. And that's usually where I go, but their premium is like it's like a Cinemark, so it's like usually like I think they call it XD or 4XD or something like that, and it's like it's not as good as Dolby, but it's pretty good. So you still get the vibration in the seats and the loud sound. So, and for $12, I think you usually don't go wrong there. So, that's usually where I go for the most part, for like, you know. But then if I feel compelled, like an Oppenheimer or Dune, then I might go to the Irvine Spectrum, watch it in IMAX 7mm, things like that.
Heck yeah, man. All well said. I still remember the days before you could pre-book the tickets, right? And you'd have to stand in line. You have to get there early. I remember seeing The Dark Knight at the midnight screening, which was crazy because there was a huge weaving line right through the movie theater. And then there's always that kind of stress, that mad dash to get in there and try and holding seats for friends. And like, you know, most people are like, screw you can't hold seats. So they'd sit there anyway. It just was like a nightmare. There was one movie I ended up like totally by myself on the opposite side of the theater because I just got there a bit late and it was horrible. And then the Return of the King, Lord of the Rings. I stood in line for that movie with my friend because at the time I had a crush on her for 4 hours before the movie started, and then that was like a 4 hour long movie. It was like an 8 hour movie day. It was insane, but I like that stress is gone. Classy, I know, obviously, and I don't know anybody's ages on this panel, but you've been around for a little while. You got the white beard going on. You, like me, likely remember the days where you're having to kind of look through people's heads at the theater when it was all at like one level, right? And I hated that as a kid because I was tall for a kid, but like you're still a kid. You're trying to see. It was awful. So I love even the stadium seating and all of those things. But some of those theaters, like I said, the Cineplex here is showing its age now. What is your favorite way to see a movie now if you go out to the theater?
Well, when I actually go to the theater, I don't go frequently, but when I go, I prefer going to IMAX. Even though I have to admit that there are some times that with IMAX, because my hearing is a little bit sensitive to the I like everything, but I don't like the real highs that they do that come in really loud. They kind of startle me, and I'm finding that my ears are just a little bit more sensitive as I'm aging. So usually what I'll do is that I'll bring in a pair of those soft little foam earplugs, thank you.
Yep.
Now I can just lightly put in there just to block a little, because with the IMAX, I mean, you're really going to, even if you have it slightly, you're still going to hear everything, you're going to feel everything, you're going to get the whole impact. But I just can't take the full just the full gusto of it. But all of the theaters in my area actually kind of upgraded. They upgraded all of the theaters. I can't think of one that's like in the old style. There were several of them that they shut down over times while they renovated the theaters. Now, unfortunately, when they did that, it when making all of the theaters with those reclining seats and everything like that, it actually made it so that there were fewer seats in each theater. But I was loving it. I remember the very first time I went into a theater and saw that they had these recline. I said, "This does not look like the." I was looking around. I was like, "Where am I? This does not look like the theater." And I sat down in the chair and then it kind of reclined. I'm like, "Oh yes, this is nice. I'm really digging this."
That's
but
awesome.
So yeah, but I do still like the regular theaters too, because you still get a lot of the same feeling with that, because you get the reclining seats and everything like that, and the theaters are not quite as loud. The only difference that I've noticed is that with IMAX, because of that big expansive screen, and it feels very spacious, and if it's a big epic movie, it feels more epic in those large spacious theaters than it does in the smaller ones. It actually makes it feel like when you go to the smaller theaters, it actually makes it feel, you feel kind of claustrophobic almost.
I can see that, yeah.
But I remember, now I will say that I kind of wish that they still had a theater like this. I remember there was a theater in my area that what they did is that they took all the regular seating out, but they put in kind of like cafe tables, comfortable seating, and they would actually serve food.
So like the VIP theaters.
Yeah, but it was a really small, kind of like small and intimate, but that was way back. I don't even know if they still do theaters like that. And then there's this theater that's in a downtown place, which is very small, and they usually do shows that are probably not your blockbusters, but are more like I could see them doing a really good film like Oppenheimer or something like that in this type of theater, but it's very small and narrow, but it's kind of intimate, and it feels like an old school type of theater, so you kind of get that old school type of feeling with it also.
Every time you say it's an intimate theater, I know that there's a Pee Wee Herman joke that I could fit in there somehow, but I just can't quite figure it out. So
I do love IMAX. I think that's my preference and my go-to.
Excuse me. Good. That's awesome, man. No, heck yeah. And good memories there as well. I wanted to address this really quick. Akira, I was talking about this backstage. It's the same lighting that I normally have. These are the Philips Hue light strips. But I don't have my other cell phone today in order for me to control my lighting. So you get the bright display lighting, how it normally is when I'm looking at the figures as opposed to on camera. If I'm washed out, I apologize. You guys get to see what I really look like, and I'm totally scaring half of you guys. So yeah, absolutely.
You don't have a... Those lights don't have a remote control that you can.
They don't. It's through your device. But I have two cell phones because I'm cool like that, and it's on my other cell phone, unfortunately. So love to see it, guys. I want to check in with the chat here shortly. We've got almost 40 people watching live. Thanks so much for the engagement there, obviously, with that question as well. I love seeing all the different theater experiences you guys have had lately, as well as all the channel members that are here today. Because don't forget, we do have the channel member giveaway at the end of the show. I know everybody. This is a long show for a Sunday. People are popping in and out with their families. So if you need to, we're going to do the channel giveaway at the end of the Anakin Skywalker segment. So if you've got this on in the background, keep that in mind so you don't miss out on that.
By the way,
giveaway.
If you're in a movie theater and you start hearing someone breathing really, really hard, it might be Marco. So careful there.
It's the weirdest thing. So when I sometimes think that I'm muted and I'm not, I breathe really loud on Collecting Weekly, but Zach doesn't just politely tell me in the chat like, hey, you're breathing into your microphone. He says it live. I'm like, you bastard. So that's the way she goes. That's okay. You just gotta remember that microphone etiquette, I should say. Guys, let's have one more warm-up top-up before we get into the main entertainment news. We finally got a chance to see the Joker 2. Oh my god, the Joker 2. Don't worry, guys. I can mute him on my own side here. Don't worry. We finally got a chance to see the Joker Part 2 poster, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and I think it looks pretty cool. I've seen some artists change this into Batman the Animated Series Joker and Harley Quinn, which makes me very happy to see. It's a cool image, but I actually really like this artwork, and this was brought up this week on another podcast that I like to listen to, because this has now been rated R, which we expected. The first one was one of the highest grossing rated R films of all time. This has been rated R for some strong violence, language throughout, some sexuality, and brief full nudity. And I was like, man, I don't remember the last time I saw full nudity in a sentence with regards to a rating scale. Now, I don't check every single rating scale, and it's not necessarily something that I'm looking for either, but it stood out to me because I was like, are we going to get some like Game of Thrones, style, like flaccid dicks running around? Are we going to, is Harley Quinn going to get up there and have a dancing number? Or is this just going to be something in passing like we've seen in other films? But my thoughts were, for me, and maybe I'm weird this way, nudity never has helped me enjoy a film more or less. It's always just part of the film, but like I always feel like they could technically skip it for me. It doesn't do much for me. I always felt awkward, especially watching it with family or friends and stuff like that also. So what do you guys think of like full nudity in a film? Is that something that you feel like they should start to skip in the future? Do you think if it's appropriate, it's fine to stay in? Does it add anything to the movie or show itself? Classy, I'll start with you, bud.
Well, we are, listen, underneath our clothes, we're nude. All right. So we by nature, human beings are naked creatures. So I don't really find nudity is a problem. I don't think it should be gratuitous, though. I mean, if it makes sense in the scene, for example, if somebody, if there's something and the couple of all right, let's give an example. Let's say there's a couple and they're kind of feeling a little frisky and say, "Hey, let's go skinny dipping." I don't expect them to be wearing a bathing suit. Okay, skinny dipping means you're butt ass naked. Okay, and if there's a love scene, you expect them to be somewhat naked, but I don't really think that adds anything to the story if it is put in there just to be salacious. If nudity is put in the scene and it doesn't make sense, like you're sitting there thinking, why is this character naked? Then it doesn't make sense for it to be there, and that they're putting it into either for shock value. All right, let me give you another example of nudity that made perfect sense. I don't know if you remember the movie The Crying Game.
I don't remember it, to be fully honest.
That was a movie that happened. Wow, it had to have been about maybe 15 or 20 years ago. But the Crying Game was a movie. It had Forrest Whitaker and this, that, and the other in it. And what it was is that there was he was an officer that had gotten kidnapped and was talking about the girlfriend that he had. Well, he got killed, and one of the kidnappers decided that he was going to go and seek out this person, and he did, and he started falling in love with them also. Well, at the time when they were about to get intimate, this character named Dill came out in in kind of like a bathrobe type of thing, and when he opened it up and they panned up, she had a penis. And then he found out that she was actually a transsexual.
That's how the dill pickle was invented.
Okay, and so
not so much.
and so as a result, that nudity made sense because it was a big reveal that, oh, I have been dating somebody that was transsexual, and I didn't know it, and so then he was conflicted. So you got a chance to understand that he had this love for this character, but he also had the conflict because he was like, well, but this is a guy, to him, this is a guy. In that sense, that nudity makes sense, and it wasn't something that was meant to exploit. Okay, and it wasn't explicit, but. If there are other movies like those teen movies and stuff like that where all of a sudden all the teens got to strip off their clothes and dance around naked, that doesn't add anything to the story. It doesn't make you understand the characters anymore. So I'm fine with nudity, but it needs to make sense.
No, that's fair. And classy as always, as expected, of course. Jose, same question. Do you have any dill pickle stories to share with us? And what is your take on nudity in movies these days? Like, is it necessary at this point to tell a good story or not? What are your thoughts?
It's kind of a loaded question, man. I don't know. I think Classy was onto it in terms of it's circumstantial, if it benefits the story. But oftentimes they just do it to add to it, so that way there's more eyeballs on the product, a little bit more conversation around whatever project it is. There's a good comment there by Alex Oppenheimer. If you guys have seen Oppenheimer, so Oppenheimer is one where it's like, well, was it really necessary, or was it just there to maybe for shock value, for conversation, for those who love Florence Pugh, whatever is right. So, it's hard to say, but one of the things that first came to mind was this show called Normal People. I'm not sure if you've heard of it.
I've not heard of it.
It's a great, I believe. Originally it was like a British show. It was based on a book, and you can watch it like on Hulu and things like that. But basically, it's this story of two young adults that basically fall in love, and they kind of come in and out of each other's lives. And there's lots of scenes like that with nudity in the show, but they're very authentic, and they feel really real, and they feel very like they feel like it's part of the story, and they're important to the story. So things like that, I never particularly felt like they were inserting those scenes just to insert them there, that it was part of the story. So you know, but there was a lot, and full frontal, guy, girl, everything, you know what I mean? So but it felt like it was necessary to the story, and it kind of showed it felt like two real people that you knew, right? And they're going through these situations. So, you know, that's where I think it's necessary, but they're like, Classy made the comment, you know, when you have some girls just naked dancing around, things like that, like, is it really necessary? Sometimes, like, are you trying to show the atmosphere and that's how things were and so on and so forth, or are they just dancing just to dance? Like, you know, it just depends.
That's true, and it depends what stage of your life you're in. Like, remember when I watched you know, movies like American Pie and those things back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, when you're in school at about the same age and they feel age relevant and stuff. And you know, as you get older, I agree. Like the Oppenheimer scene did feel kind of just unnecessary. Them sitting in the chairs talking to each other in the nude, like that happens in real life, but like not that often. You know, like most of the time we get dressed after. Like, oh, maybe it's just me, but like you know, it's one of those things that like I don't feel like it's necessarily needed. But if it somehow can further the story, then yeah, fair, leave it in. I don't really care. For this movie specifically, I have no desire to see this movie based on the fact that there's going to be brief full nudity. At this point, like, I don't think it's going to add to this story whatsoever. So we'll see how it goes, but kind of a fun warm-up topic as well, because I always like, you know, touching base on the things that are hard to talk about a little bit sometimes, and clearly making Jose a little uncomfortable week over week is the reason I keep bringing you back, buddy. You just love to see it. So
and we might just see Joaquin Phoenix's butt, you know what I mean? Like, that's maybe that's what you know.
One of the most shocking scenes ever, frontal nudity for me, was Forgetting Sarah Marshall, where Marshall.
Oh yeah.
Or where what's his name? Just like he's just eating cereal, like totally naked.
Jason
like,
Segel.
Yeah, like Jesus. Were you gonna say something last?
No.
Yeah, I was just saying that like
see it, buddy.
when they say something, when they say brief full nudity, whenever they say brief, it gives me the impression of something in passing. So it probably might be something where they're changing, or someone is changing clothes or something like that, or and so in that sense, if it's brief and it's full nudity, I don't expect it to be just kind of sitting out there. It gives me the feeling that's going to be something that will be passing. But since people, particularly in America, are so, I don't know, people seem to have this thing about nudity that seems to really bother Americans. Now, I was born and raised in America. I am not European, but I don't have a problem with naked bodies. It doesn't bother me. I don't have to see it. I don't have to not see it, but it doesn't bother me when I do see it. Unless it just looks like somebody's doing it just to kind of throw it in my face and try to make me feel uncomfortable. And but
which maybe they are trying to as well,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Depending on the movie, but yeah,
you never know. So I don't know. I will have to trust the filmmaker that it actually furthers the story, and if it doesn't, then it'll probably reflect in the box office. I mean, if people are feeling that things are done unnecessarily, people are going to feel it, and they're going to tell their friends, there's parts that make me feel a little uncomfortable.
See, I felt that way a little bit about the recent Oscar winner, Pretty Things.
Poor Things.
Poor Things. Thank you. It was an interesting movie, but when people ask me like, "Oh, would you recommend it?" I'm like, it's a hard one to recommend because it is super twisted. Definitely don't watch it with your mom. But it was interesting, and it had a lot of nudity and sex and all that. But like, it made sense to the story. But did I enjoy it? It was hard to watch. It was an interesting one. So if you like feeling uncomfortable in a movie, watch it, because I think it would be interesting to get your reaction with it. Anybody out there in the world, but otherwise, I don't necessarily recommend.
Question about that: is it weird? I mean, like when people say don't watch it with your mom, is it because it's kind of a weird movie? Because see, I love movies that are kind of really, really weird and just kind of
I can tell you, I don't want to give spoilers away because people probably haven't seen it. I can tell you more later about why it's a little twisted, but there is definitely a lot of the sex side, which obviously would make you uncomfortable if you're sitting with your folks anyways, let's be honest. But like, then there's other aspects to it that's even weirder. So I can add to that later. But I don't want to give any spoilers away because lots of people haven't seen it.
Yeah, we'll talk later.
We're 30 minutes in. We're warmed up for the show, guys. We got 43 people watching live. Thank you so much for being here for Let's Get Nuts. Today, we have our channel member giveaway, so happy to see so many of you guys being here in the chat. Part of the Tough Nut crew, this slide keeps getting bigger and bigger every single week, and I say thank you guys because this membership today, this giveaway today, I'm not sponsored by anybody yet. It's coming out of my own pocket, so it's coming from the channel, technically. You guys have contributed in. I want to make sure that gets given back right away. As our Tough Nut crew is here with us today, we've got Alvin J, Collecting Weekly, Money Mendez, 6 Scale Mafia, Katera, Feezy's Figures, King Dingaling, Sith, Scale Collector, The Paul Schreiber, The Batman, The Movie Canon, 1/6 Figure, Focus, SpongeBob, Square, Balls, The _ Empire Strikes, Peter Cass, Ryan Smith, Collector Joey, Sam Gist, 14 Wellington, Jose G. Hernandez, or Jose Plus, 12-inch Moose Stream, Collection Obsession, Blurred Dad Life, Danny Spochka, Rachel Miller, Hannes Hansel, Action in the Box, Figurecraft, Neilerific, Action Figure Academy, X-Man Supreme, Don Matan, and our newest member, as of yesterday, Kenneth Jacobson. Thank you guys so much for being channel members. If you want to become part of the membership, we will consistently do giveaways on this channel. If you sign up today, you will not be eligible for the giveaway. I'm only making the people on this list that were passed, earlier than this week, part of the giveaway today. But if you want to become part of next giveaway, you can become a member right there. Of course, you do have our badges that are beside your name while you're in the chat with us. And if any of the members are interested, can you guys throw some nut emojis into the chat so people can see what it looks like, some nut busters and all of the good stuff for everybody else, of course. But we have a lot of folks here that are not channel members as well, and either way, you guys, the support is awesome. Just the fact that you tune in week over week, I definitely appreciate that. So let's say hi to you guys.
Is that everyone? I can want it more.
Nuts!
Assemble.
That nuts gets me every time. It scares me a little bit. It's louder than the rest of the video. You hate to see it. We got Noble Young here in the chat with a nut and a piece. What's going on, buddy? We got Collector Joey here with us. I'm early to the nuttiness. Yes, you are, good sir. We got X-Men Supreme, one of our channel members as well. He says, well then, I'm not too sure, but he says, I'm too ready to get nuts. I already got nuts today. Boy, did I get nuts today. Sounds aggressive.
I need to hear that story. I want to know that story.
We got Niculio here in the chat with us. Hey, buddy, good to see you. He says, cashews are yum. Make sure you guys check out Niculio on his Instagram. Always posting some really cool pictures over there of 6 scale. We got SpongeBob Square Balls in the chat and in the panel with us as well. We got Sith Scale Collector himself. He says, what's up, collectors, with a nutbuster. You love to see it. We got Action Figure Academy here. Let's go. Mark Mitchell. Hey, everyone. Good to see you, buddy. We got Danny Spochka himself here as well with all of the turtle nuts and the bustin' nuts and all the things. I appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for throwing those in the chat. Make sure you guys go over and check out Danny Spochka's YouTube channel as well. He did just do another Batman video the other day that I watched, DC video, I should say, and it was awesome. So I totally recommend checking out his show over there as well. We got Thor Gaming, my brother, in the chat himself. He says, hey bro, what's going on? Good to see you, buddy. We got Darth Tamaris here in the chat. What's up, my man? Good to see you, buddy. Also, again, YouTube channel, check it out. He's a good guy and great content on the rise. So take a look over there. We got Thalia Meyer here in the chat with us. Hello, everyone. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. Christian Cooper with us. What's up, guys? Good to see you, bud. We got JB in the chat with us. I love JB's comments. They're always funny. He says, I've got an assortment of almonds, and I'm not afraid to use them. We got Aurelis Delgado in the chat with us. I got to meet Aurelis over at the Collecting Weekly con event last year, and she is lovely, really lovely little kids, and everybody in that family gets so excited about comic collectibles, so they're very fun to be around. So happy to have you here with us. Thanks so much. We got Ryan Smith, one of our channel members, here as well. Hey fellas, good to see you here. We got Alex Vargas in the chat. Yo, what's up, everyone? Let's see here. We got the _ Empire Strikes with a nut fun. We've got Cylon in the chat with a hey everyone, nutty, love to see it there. Akira here with us in the chat as well. Let's see here. I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. We got Tremble Dust here in the chat, one of my Star Trek brothers. Good to see you out there, buddy. We got Big Dog Pound 1 in the chat. Let's give him a woo! Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. We got, let's see here. We got Jake in the chat as well. IMAX for the win, he says. Love to see it there. We got Gilbert Almazan, or Almazan, I should say. It says, I love going to movies. So far this year, I've been to the cinema like 28 times. That's awesome. I have the Regal Unlimited Pass, fair enough. And I'm actually going to see Monkey Man in a few hours. Ooh, I'm excited to talk about that film because that does look really, really cool. I agree. Let us know if you like it next week, there, buddy, and give us some recommendation or not. We got Niculio in the chat with us as well. Says Argyle is the only movie I've seen in cinema this year, and I hadn't heard many great things about that one. So, Niculio, let us know if that was worthy of a theater experience or maybe a streaming experience. We got King Dingaling himself here in the chat with us. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. Of course, Jose G. Hernandez himself in the panel and in the comments as well. Love to see it there. I think that is almost everybody. Sith Scale Collector, I think I got you, but just in case I didn't, good to see you. We got Adrian Cervantes here in the chat. Hey, what's up, Classy Thomas? Good to see you. You're bringing your own fans now, Classy. I love to see it, buddy. We got Clinton Martin in the chat with us. Good to see you, buddy. Howdy, folks. Mark P in the chat with us. No, nice. Good to see you, buddy. Sup, everyone, he says. Let's see here. Jake, we got Aunt Jemima in the chat, which I've never seen her in the chat before, but she's a sweet lady, I'm told. So good to see you. Thanks for being here. It says Henry Cavill said the same thing. It's too overused, I think, with regards to nudity, which is interesting there. Let's see here. We got Ryan Dean in the chat with us as well. Good to have you here for the movie news stuff as well, especially. I always love your comments. Says, hey, y'all, just got here in time for the new chat. Sorry about that. So it's probably out of context. It's a really strange conversation. We got Action Figure Academy here with us as well. Blurred Dad Life, which is awesome to see you here, buddy. And Loco Lou himself with a What's Poppin', people? Love to see it, buddy. Hopefully I can still do that justice for you. He does it way better than me, let's be honest. Guys, I think that's everybody. If I missed anybody, please let me know in the chat below. But let's get in
before you go on, Ben, I got to ask you, who was that? Dean screaming the nuts, or was that you?
Dean screaming nuts. When?
Yeah, in your thing it said.
Oh, my
symbol. Yeah,
that's me. Yeah,
that's you. Okay, I for some reason it sounded like Dean, and I was like, was that Dean or was that Ben?
That was a weird recording night because that night I'd done a bunch of intros and stuff, and that was at like 2:00 in the morning, and I was trying to record this video before I went to bed, and I'm sure all of my old lady neighbors could just hear me yelling nuts into my microphone about 15 different times before I got kind of what I felt like was about the right tone of voice and cadence and loudness, and it's still a little too loud to me, but yeah, it is what it is. So a weird thing for people to hear in the background. Guys, let's get into the show. Variety's reporting here this week that Matrix 5 is in the works with Drew Goddard as the director, Lana Wachowski as the executive producer, which is interesting. I wanted to talk about this because I love the original Matrix films. This last week I got the Transcender figure, which is a third-party Agent Smith, basically, to pose him up shooting Neo, who is kind of in that slow-motion backwards pose. I know it's not the same agent, but it can be canon in my brain for this week. It's cool. The figure I really enjoy. And the original film especially. I remember it was one of those movies that I didn't know much about Keanu Reeves other than kind of the surfer dude appeal up to that point. And, I hadn't seen him in much other stuff at that point. I didn't know what this film was about, but I was always a huge science fiction fan. And I remember being absolutely floored by this film when I left. And because it was a thought that we hadn't really seen on screen before, in terms of the science fiction and the world building and all of the things. I loved it. I also really enjoyed Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions. I think Revolutions is still probably the weakest of them because I really liked all the stuff in the Matrix itself. The stuff on Zion was okay, but it didn't hit me the same way. And then I think it was about 2 years ago, maybe even a little bit longer now. Matrix 4 came out, which was it? Let's see, I got a slide here.
Resurrections.
I wanted to say Revelations. Resurrections came out, and I did not like it. To say that I hated it, I think is probably a little extreme, but I really did like it. I felt like they went back to a lot of the same story beats that we'd seen in the past. I didn't feel like it was a great representation of what modern day society is now. I think that's where they were going with it, but it didn't hit for me. And his kind of reawakening back into Neo, I didn't feel like I needed it all that much. I thought that the 3 films really closed the story loop for both him and Trinity, and while it was nice to see even Trinity make a return in the 4th film, I felt like it took away from some of that emotional impact of their deaths at the end of the 3rd film. And so I really
Spoiler
didn't like
alert.
that aspect of it either. Spoiler alert. But the other thing that I want to ask you guys is the money there at this point? Now, obviously social media is a beast when it comes to movies, right? If a movie starts to track poorly on things like Rotten Tomato, people start kind of having the word of mouth on social media and in person that, hey, this new 4th film isn't that great. Clearly people aren't going to spend money necessarily to go see it. But when we look at the box office results for the first Matrix, that came in at $467 million. The second film, Matrix Reloaded, which I think is underrated. A lot of people say they don't love it, but I loved Reloaded. And the action scenes, the car chase scene on the highway with like all cool stuff, still came in at $427 million. And of course, the wrap up to that trilogy got pretty darn close, almost $750 million at $741 million. And then with the return of Matrix Resurrections...
Revolutions outperformed Matrix?
Outperformed the Matrix. Yeah.
Wow. I did not know
By
that.
quite a lot. So obviously, again, people were amped for that 3rd film. They wanted to see how this trilogy was going to end. And while the movie wasn't as well received as some others, I still think that they did a good job to wrap it up, like I said. With Matrix Resurrections coming back again, it did $157 million. And so, again, I think part of that is word of mouth. I think part of that is Rotten Tomato scores. I think part of it is people just don't necessarily care about the Matrix anymore. So, what do you guys think of a 5th movie coming? Is the dollars going to be there? Does it have to just be a revisit at this point? Or do you feel like this is just, capitalizing on Keanu Reeves' popularity? Where do you think this concept has come from? I will say, the director has said he's got an amazing idea for this 5th film. And if the money is there to back that idea, it probably is a pretty sweet idea, but we don't really know what that looks like yet. So Jose, how amped are you for a 5th Matrix movie? Did you like the 4th version, or what were your thoughts kind of on the overarching trilogy and the box office results from these?
Well, lots of questions there. I'm more of I'm a fan of the original first movie, like for the most part. I enjoyed aspects of all 3 other sequels. Resurrections, I didn't hate it, but I didn't, it didn't change my life either. It just, a lot of people felt like it was like the worst thing that they ever seen, yada yada, but it was fine. I mean, I didn't, to me it's just like, it's just the first film, to be honest. That's kind of how I think about it. In terms of the box office, it's hard to tell because clearly it's significantly down every time, right? Well, except for the Revolutions, which is interesting as you were mentioning, but yeah, I'm not sure if the interest is there. The only thing I can comment on is Drew Goddard. He is a fantastic writer and filmmaker. Cabin in the Woods is a film he made, and he created Daredevil, the TV show. He is the creator of the Daredevil TV show. So, and he actually, the whole first season was all basically him. So he has, he's been trying to it's funny because he actually had originally, fun fact, he had been hired to do a Sinister Six film that he has a full script for that he developed. And he was supposed to do that kind of back when they were developing it during the Andrew Garfield era. So he's been wanting to do a Spider-Man project for a while, and it just never worked out. He was actually rumored on the top list for Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland now. I don't know if he's going to do that now, if he's going to do this 5th film. So that might take him out of that contention. But I'm not so sure. I'm actually more interested because of him rather than anything else. And I don't know how they'll tie in. Are they going to bring back Neo and Trinity and all them, or is it going to be a whole new story in the same, Matrix world? I'm not sure. I'm more of a wait and see approach. I tend not to judge things right off the bat. So we'll see.
I think it's hard to have such a crazy original idea nowadays, like that original Matrix film and that world building and everything, right? So many science fiction films and content that have come kind of after The Matrix have definitely been inspired by it in lots and lots of ways. But I still really like some of the new science fiction that's come out. Movies like The Creator that I recently watched. I feel like that film, from my recollection, performed pretty badly at the box office, but the movie itself was awesome, and I loved the world building in it. It was dirty, it was lived in, it felt like very realistic, almost like a District 9 did back in the day, you know, like a very lived in universe. Thought it was really great. So there can be still really great new science fiction without a revisit to the oldies. But I will say, with Drew being on board, I also agree with you, Jose, that amps me up a little bit because some of his past work I've really loved, not just liked. So I'm willing to give the guy a chance, despite my dislike for this last version of Resurrections here. Classy Thomas, what about you, buddy? Are you excited for a revisit to The Matrix? I know it sounded like you were a little surprised by the dollar amounts here from the films. What are your thoughts there, buddy?
Well, you know, I don't know that we necessarily need another Matrix film. I really enjoy. Oh, good. Hey, Pete.
Sorry to interrupt you, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I just saw that.
Pete Cass, one of our esteemed panel members, British correspondent. Love to see you, buddy. Only Fools and Collecting over there as well on Collecting Weekly. He says here, "Hey chaps, I was hoping to join you tonight, but birthday celebrations have worn me out. This 49-year-old needs to get his arse to bed." Have a great show. Yes. We love you, buddy. Happy birthday, man. Thank you so much for popping in.
Happy birthday, my friend.
He also mentioned that he went to go see the new Ghostbusters.
He did.
Which I saw as well. Pretty good film.
Did you like it? Okay, good. I'm happy to hear that.
You know, like with the Matrix, all right, this is where I stand on things like that. I think what happens is that sometimes the public really enjoys a character or a franchise where maybe the writer intended it to be a trilogy where you have your beginning, your middle, and your end, and that wraps it up. But then sometimes I think people, when they see how well received it is, they want them to do more. And for example, I read where Sony was trying to the new I guess when they were negotiating for the next Spider-Man, Sony wanted the Tom Holland's character to be they want to do another multiverse type of project, whereas the MCU, you know, Kevin Feige was wanting to stay in a more grounded type of thing because that's where things are moving now. But I think that because Sony is seeing the cash and they're trying to make that money, they said, well, the last multiverse thing made a lot of money. Let's do more of this. I think what happens is that when you have the studios and the money men as opposed to the creatives understand how the story starts and ends. And once it's ended, then you're having to make up all of this extra stuff that doesn't make sense because it wasn't part of the original story. I like it when you let a story begin and end. You get a chance to see that universe, and then your imagination can take it wherever you want to. If they then want to explore other or different characters within that universe, that makes perfect sense to me. Hey, go for it. But why tell the same story? I mean, because I don't know whether or not they're going to give us anything new. Now, with the director that Jose had just told us about, what was his name again, Jose?
Drew Goddard.
Drew Goddard, yeah. Now, having said that, as soon as you said Cabin in the Woods, I went, oh. And then Daredevil, I was like, oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I would like to see what he would bring to it. Definitely. Because I think that he would open up the can and give us a new recipe with it. I don't know if it was still in the hands of the Wachowskis. I don't know, because I don't know that they envisioned anything past that trilogy. So I don't know if they could give us something more creative.
Probably why the fourth one was terrible.
Yeah, so I think a new set of eyes on it might bring something kind of fun to it. So I would be open to it. I can't say I'm excited, but the director excites me. So I think I would like to see what he would bring to it.
At this point, I feel like they have to make it awesome. And I know obviously that makes like, it's like, well, yeah, of course. But it reminds me, like, seeing again Neo and Trinity die at the end of the third film really wrapped their storyline. It was emotional, it was heavy, there was a lot in that, right? And that stuck with me all these years. It's one of the reasons I still love that trilogy. But then I think about guys like Robert Downey Jr., you know, the snap with Thanos, right? And how emotionally impactful that scene was in Avengers Endgame. If in a couple of years they just decide to bring him back as Iron Man, and it's not that great of a movie, I feel like that's going to light the community on fire, because it's like you undo the emotion that you built up all those years. And I mean, the Avengers movies were way more films than the Matrix trilogy was. But again, don't undo the good stuff unless you've got more good stuff planned. And I think nobody makes a movie with the intention of making a bad movie. But it happens, unfortunately. And when it underwhelms on the characters that you love, it kind of sucks. So I think they absolutely have to smash the next one out of the park, or just stop making them. Just leave it at that. Just be done with it. But I'll be willing to see it.
Yeah, I think if it's the studio saying, give me another movie, or if it's the creator saying, I have more story to tell, those are the things that will determine whether or not it's going to be a great movie. Because the studio just wants to put a name out there, thinking that the public, that we are so loyal that we're just going to go to it. But no, we're going to go to it because we expect a good story. And if we don't get one, we're not going to continue to support it.
Agreed. Well said, Classy and Jose. Great thoughts there, boys. Let's say have a good day to the underscore Empire Strikes. One of our channel members says, have to bounce, fellas. Deepest apologies, guys. Just got back from the UK from my Florida vacation. Very nice. And I'm absolutely beat. Great stream, y'all. Have a great rest of your day. You as well, good sir. And I just so you guys are aware, just before you leave, I've changed my mind about the giveaway at the end of the show today. We'll still do the giveaway, but since it's for our channel members anyways, even if you can't be here live with us, if you win, I think we should still give it out. Just because we only have 33 members at this point. All of the people in the membership have been members for longer than 1 week, so I don't think anybody signed up just for the giveaway. Everybody's been members for a couple months now. So I think it's only fair. I can't expect everybody to take their whole Sunday on Let's Get Nuts, especially when so many people watch it on the replay after the fact. So if you guys think that that's fair, then I'll revise that from last week.
Hey, I'm good with
how long should they take to like let you know? Because like, let's say they don't watch it and they don't watch the replay, then are you going to let them know? Or
it'll be between now and next Sunday. If they're not in the chat and they win, we'll announce it at the end of the show. Of course, I'll post it on the YouTube channel in my member chat area as well. See, but yeah, I think by next Sunday, if it's not given away, we'll redo the draw. So
sounds good.
Sound good?
I think that's
cool.
fair. Yeah.
Awesome. And I don't want anybody to leave, by the way, but I just get it. Everybody has life with their friends and their families and Sundays.
The numbers are going
20
down.
20 people just leave. You hate to see it. I shouldn't have said anything. You hate to see it. I'm just kidding. You guys are awesome. But let us know what your thoughts are on The Matrix 5. Is this one you're going to support in theaters? Would you wait for streaming? Or do you just not care at all? Or are you pretty amped? I would love to hear from you guys in the comments live or in the replay after the show today. This popped up as well this week, and I was really excited to see this because if you know, you know. I once called John Bernthal Jeremy Benthal, and it's stuck with me for a really long time. So Jeremy Benthal, or John Bernthal, is making an official announcement here. He's officially returning to the newest Daredevil show with the rest of the cast, and I absolutely love to see that, because not only was he a badass Punisher. I really enjoyed his take, especially in the second season. It really, really grew on me and him in that role. But he's a powerhouse, and he pairs extremely well with Charlie Cox and the rest of the cast from that original. So I'm happy to see that he's making a very bloody return here in this teaser image. I also really love to see that he's got the actual skull on his outfit. That is so classic Punisher. You cannot not have the skull on the outfit.
Exactly.
So I'm really happy to see that's back. And I'm crossing my fingers, even though I've got it already in my current collection. I've got the original Hot Toys Punisher there. And it's a great figure, don't get me wrong, but there are definitely some improvements that could be made to the paint applications and even the jacket and everything. So I'm really hoping that we get another Hot Toys Punisher down the line with maybe another Daredevil from the show.
One.
I heard the third party was pretty good too. There was like a third party, right? That had like a different outfit, but
I
it
saw
also
that
had
too.
this. Yeah, I heard that one was pretty good.
Absolutely. Are you stoked about the return then? Was your thoughts of the Punisher role, Jose? Like, did you like that show itself? Did you like Daredevil more? Because I'll admit, I watched all of the Daredevil Netflix show and then started Punisher, and I actually had to take a break from it. I got through about halfway through the first season, and I took about a year break and went back to it, and then ended up really enjoying it. But for whatever reason, I felt fatigued by the universe maybe, but really liked the take after all. What are your thoughts here, him coming back?
So I do like him. I like his interpretation. I liked him in season 2. It was season 2 of Daredevil when he was introduced, I believe. I liked him there. I watched his show though, and I couldn't do it. I don't know. I just thought it was slow paced, and it didn't work for me. So I never went back to it. Maybe I should do what you did and kind of go back to it now. But I think I watched maybe a couple episodes, and I just felt like, oh, this is just such a chore. And so I don't know. I like Punisher, but it's not one of my favorite characters. So it's not something that maybe perhaps the interest wasn't there for me primarily. That's probably the primary reason. But I'm definitely open to going back to watch it. But I haven't heard a lot of people tell me to go do it, so that's why I guess I've never went back to it. I am interested to see him. I am interested in his interpretation now in Daredevil Born Again, and seeing how he comes back, and as you mentioned, the way that the chemistry between the two characters of Daredevil and Punisher was one of my favorite aspects of the season 2. That they had there, so. That was one of my favorites, watching that he's going to be back. And then also, fun fact, I think I don't know if you guys might have seen my stories, but I was sharing that the original actress that played Vanessa had originally been recast. This is actually new news that came out today. She had been recast. They had brought in another actress that looked younger than the actual Vanessa from the Daredevil series, and it was because of scheduling conflicts that they weren't able to bring back the original actress.
Oh, okay.
So they brought in a different actress, but then I don't know if you guys heard, but a lot of this show got scrapped and they kind of restarted it all over again. And for that reason, I guess the original actress has now become available, and now she's back, and there's photos of her on set playing Vanessa again. So I don't know. I feel bad for the other. Yeah, I feel bad for the other actress. Maybe she gets another role, hopefully. But
yeah, right. I guess we're like, yay, the old lady's back.
Yeah,
but, fair. We got Man of Hot Collectibles in the chat with us. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks so much for joining in on Let's Get Nuts Sunday here with us. If you guys have missed it, he's been making a return on his own streams between collectors. Awesome show to check out as well. And of course, Dante's been in the world of Hot Toys collecting since I got started in it. Lovely personality over there, and great guests over with him as well. I don't know about that D-Lo guy, but everybody else. But.
I used to chat with Dante all the time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good to see you here, man.
By the way, can I bring up the elephant in the room? How badass is that Daredevil costume right there?
No, that's why I brought it up, Classy. And you literally took the words.
amazing.
Yeah, these are both the outfits that we're seeing from Daredevil Born Again sets, and it's like it looks real good, eh? So you're pretty amped for it then.
Yes. Well, I actually have ordered the yellow one, and so I'll be having that. But this is the best looking Daredevil costume that they've done so far. I have the original Hot Toys one that they did, and it was, the costume looked great. The head sculpt wasn't really something that I felt was really good, but this one is a little different, but I like it. The only thing I can't see it on there, but I hope it has the D or the double D on his chest somehow. Man,
It looks like there's an imprintation of it, so I think it's there, but I agree with you. It definitely needs that if it's not.
I believe it does not have it. No.
Oh, no way, no way. Adam112 says, agreed that Daredevil costume looks more faithful to the
It
comics.
does.
I also ordered Classy. I also ordered the yellow one because I
Yes.
love that comic book where you see Spider-Man and Daredevil, the Daredevil first appearance, and you see him with the red and yellow. That for that specific reason, not because I really like She-Hulk, but for that specific reason, I thought in my head, I'm like Daredevil with that red and blue Spidey next to each other. It just worked for me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that original costume is just so iconic, and but this all red, and look at the color. That is blood red. I mean, I have never seen that red on Daredevil. That is, and the Punisher next to him looking all grimy. Yeah, Hot Toys, give me both of them. I want both of these figures right here.
Yeah, and it's quite a
Gotta
bit
have
different of it. Even in the Punisher outfit, it's quite a bit different than the original Hot Toys figure. So definitely, I mean, things get translated a little differently on screen, of course. These are just behind the scenes photos, but still, I think it looks pretty freaking cool. So, Classy, I'm happy to hear that you're excited about that, man. That's
I
awesome.
am excited. And John Bernthal, that's the man. I mean, everything he's in. I mean, I just love how gritty he is. I mean, when he was Shane in The Walking Dead, he kind of, I don't know.
I hated him in that. I hated him in that.
I loved him. You know, I hated what
You're supposed to hate. You're supposed to hate him.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I mean,
you did a good
love
job.
to hate him,
Yeah.
but man, he was such a.
Yeah.
I loved what he brought and the conflict that he brought. I loved him. I don't know if you saw that movie, that Ben Affleck movie. I think it was called The Accountant.
The Accountant. Yes, I was about to bring it up. Yes, Classy, you went there.
Man, yes.
That's a great movie.
I'm not a bat flick, but I tell you what, I'm an accountant. I tell you what, I would look. Give me an accountant figure.
You haven't seen it, Ben?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you got
Watch
to see
it.
it.
Watch
You
it.
have to. You have
All right.
to.
All
Yes. And John Bernthal was just really, again, he just brought the Bernthal to it. So yeah, I'm excited about this, man. It's like, you know, I'm born again already, man.
Nice, nice
Yeah,
pun there.
I haven't seen him in. I haven't seen the Bear yet either, so I didn't know he was in the Bear either. So that's exciting.
I did not
I'm gonna
know
check
either.
that out.
Oh, okay.
I gotta check that. Everybody tells me how good the show is, and I hate when people tell me how good shows are for too much a time, like too many weeks in a row, because then I'm like, oh, it's so overhyped. Oh God, what if I don't like it? I remember once somebody was like, Napoleon Dynamite is the funniest movie you will ever see, ever. And then I really didn't think it was that funny. But I watched it by myself. Years later, when I watched it with a group of friends, very different story. But don't overhype things. You know?
I love Napoleon Dynamite. That movie was. I loved it because it was so stupid. I mean, but and what was her name? The woman who gave him the mixtape at the end.
Oh, I don't even remember.
What
now.
was her name?
The actress.
Yeah, LaShondra, I think.
LaShondra.
Oh my God! You know, I love Napoleon Dynamite.
Aunt Jemima says the podcast is great. Also, maybe a little sticky,
Yes.
but definitely good.
Whoa.
Yeah, he did an interview. He did an interview with Shia LaBeouf, I believe.
Nice.
That was pretty.
Oh, I saw that actually.
Yeah.
It was very heart wrenching. Yeah, I
was,
saw that. Anyways, we're getting off topic, guys. I'm very excited to see the Punisher making a return to Daredevil. I'm excited to see what these outfits definitely look like. Definitely a little back and forth in the chat there. Some people want the DD on the chest, some people don't. I think it would be cool to see
do.
it, but I can appreciate if that's not something for you as well. Everybody is excited either way to see
And
some of these cast members coming back.
unpopular opinion, but I liked. Speaking of Affleck, I did like the Affleck costume. A lot of people hate it because of the biker jacket and all that. I liked it. I don't know. It worked for me, but I grew up with it, so it is what it is.
That's fair. I also really liked the original Batman, or sorry, Batman.
Daredevil.
The original Daredevil with Affleck
Yeah.
in it. And
That's
Michael
dope.
Clark Duncan, rest in peace.
Oh.
I love that man as well.
That-
He was awesome as King.
I would love a figure of Michael Clark
Dude,
Duncan
yes.
Kingpin.
He would be huge too. He
my
was such
gosh.
a beefy man. Oh yeah. The
be
Island was
so
also he
cool.
was awesome in The Island back in the day. It's a ScarJo movie if you haven't seen it. And anyways, off topic. Love you guys.
Have you? have you last thing? Have you watched the director's cut, the extended fight scene with Kingpin and Daredevil in the original Daredevil?
I don't think I have. No, I haven't.
Oh man, you gotta watch it. The director's cut is one of the best. It some people that don't like the theatrical. No, yeah, the people that don't like the theatrical cut really love the director's cut. So, and then the fight is extended. So.
Okay, cool. I will check that out. And Colin Farrell as what's his name? Bullseye.
I like him. He's dope. Well, Bullseye. Right? He's dope.
Yeah, he was awesome. Guys, we've got a little more entertainment news and then a little figure news that we want to cover today. We still got 50 people watching live. Thank you so much for being here and getting nuts with us on Sunday. Variety is reporting finally that Julia Garner joins Marvel's The Fantastic Four as Shia LaBeouf version of Silver Surfer. Now, there's been some I want to say speculation that the Silver Surfer was going to make a return. I think a couple weeks back we talked a little bit about how Anya Taylor-Joy was teased as a possibility for the role. I think she would have been really great as well because honestly she's very interesting looking, that's for sure. But Julia Garner, she's been in a couple things lately. What I saw her most recently in was Ozark. I finally got to Ozark and really enjoyed that show. And she's an intense actress. So I can definitely see the appeal of her as a Silver Surfer. Now, I think the problem is that most people still really want the kind of that original take on Silver Surfer. But let's be honest, we've seen that before in the Fantastic Four movie back in the Rise of the Silver Surfer, I think it was called. And just because he was in that didn't unfortunately make that film a good movie. So I'm excited to see a new take on her, at least in the cinematic universe, because it says here as well, the Silver Surfer was introduced in the Fantastic Four number 48 as the Herald of Galactus, a planet-eating entity through the version, though that version was the Surfer, was an alien astronomer known as Norrin Radd. And Garner is said to be playing a different Silver Surfer known as Shia LaBeouf. Garner is a 3-time Emmy winner, award winner for Ruth Langmore in the Netflix series Ozark. Also, she earned an Emmy nomination for leading Inventing Anna, the series about a real-life con artist, Anna Delvey. I haven't seen that film, unfortunately. Coming up, she is also has the Wolfman due out next year through Universal and Blumhouse. I should check out that other film, but you know what? The fact that she's actually won awards as well helps. Obviously, she's an acclaimed actress. I think it's exciting. I'm excited to see what a female Silver Surfer can look like and act like and be like for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And let's be honest, just because she's cast now and this character is going to be in the film, does not mean we're not going to see Norrin Radd in the future. Right. We just might not see it right away. But she also kind of exists because of Norrin Radd if you read the comics. So they'll be shifting that storyline a little bit. But let's be honest, Marvel's done that with other superheroes as well in their canon. So that's not necessarily a world-breaking scenario. What are your thoughts, Classy? I know you're a big comic guy on seeing a female Silver Surfer coming to the live screen. And do you know much about this actress?
I don't know much about the actress, but she is, I mean, Shia LaBeouf is definitely, she is canon to the comic books. So it's not like, I think people are complaining about, complaining about the, what they call gender swapping. This really isn't a gender swap. She's not playing Norrin Radd. And I've actually heard rumors that the Fantastic Four is actually in an alternate universe. And since we're talking about these incursions,
correct,
that it's possible that this Silver Surfer is the Silver Surfer from that universe, which means that once all the incursions are over and everybody's in the same universe together, that we may be introduced to Norrin Radd. So I don't think that we're not going to see that Silver Surfer, the Norrin Radd Silver Surfer, but I think that this is a way of introducing a different thing in the Fantastic Four. So I don't know. I'm really interested. I think that some people think I put too much trust in the MCU, but I do trust the process. I trust that if they're going to the source material and are pulling from it, if they write it well and give us a good story, I'm all right with it. Now, I also do not agree that there should be just random gender swaps just for the sake of it.
Agreed.
Let the characters exist the way they existed in the source material. However, when there were alternates and things like that, let that exist also. And I don't think this is a permanent thing. So I don't think that people really need to fear. But again, I trust Kevin Feige. I don't trust Disney, because Disney is about trying to pull dollars in. But I do know that Kevin Feige loves the comic books and he loves the source material. So I think that now that they're kind of pulling back a little bit, that he is going to really pull in a good story for us. So try to be a little yielding.
Optimistic.
Yeah, optimistic, and just yield just a little bit and let the story take you, and just trust the process. I tend to trust the process.
I like what you
Maybe
said
more than
there.
I should.
I like what you said there, Classy, and not to call it Jake here, because actually this comment made me kind of laugh. He says, "Here comes the MCU again," which made me laugh. But then you did make a great point, Classy, is that like this character does exist in comics, so it makes sense why she could be present in this film. Like I said at the beginning, Norrin Radd was in a Silver Surfer movie already, and that didn't necessarily make it a great movie. And so, I think this is a cool direction to consider, but I also agree with you. If they're just doing gender swapping for the sake of, the social media aspect of films nowadays in 2024, then that I don't agree with. And then I would agree that there are definitely films that are feeling like they're catering more for the purpose of catering, as opposed to the purpose of really creating a great story to add to the cinematic universe. So I think you nailed it there, Classy. What about you, Jose? What are your thoughts on Julia Garner as the next Silver Surfer, or having a female surfer, just in general? Or do you echo what we think? Do you feel differently? Where's your head at? Where's your head at?
I honestly don't really care. As long as so she's a
Nothing
if she's a
Burger,
great
like Eddie would
actress.
say.
Yeah. I mean, if she's a great actress, which based on the Emmy nominations and everyone who's seen Ozark can attest to it, then I'm cool with it. I mean, it doesn't really affect me in any way. And then, as you guys mentioned, she's playing a different version of the Silver Surfer that's already pre-established in the canon of the comics. So, that works. And then, we could get the male version, Norrin Radd, in the MCU in some way. So I think that, and as Classy was mentioning, this is based on speculation and rumor from online. This is taking place in an alternate universe. So because of that, you're going to have alternate universe interpretations and characters. So I'm okay with it. Just, it is what it is. Nothing burger, I guess.
Well, and and I think at the end of the day, like I even see Dirk Diggler's comment here, stunt double. I love that picture, by the way. He says, "Well, Jake, don't watch it," and I actually disagree with that as well.
No.
Watch it because you have an opinion about it, and then see if your opinion can be changed. And maybe it won't be. There's been lots of castings in the past films that I'm like, ooh, I don't like that, and then it turns out to be not as great as I wanted. But then there are very pleasant surprises I've had in my movie watching life, such as Heath Ledger as the Joker. When I heard that the Brokeback Mountain guy was going to be in it, or the A Knight's Tale dude was going to play my favorite villain character of all time, the Joker, I was like, oh my goodness, that's going to be horrible. And then it was amazing. It's like my favorite character. It blew me away. But like, I like that about movies. I like being proven wrong. I like going in with an open slate. Even if I feel something about a movie, I'm willing to take it in as an open slate. And if it's terrible, let's talk about it. We on the show we'll call it out. If a movie's terrible, we'll talk about it. I'm worried about the Crow remake. I feel like they didn't need to go back and revisit that movie. The trailers that I've seen for it, the images I've seen from it, I am not excited. But I'm still going to watch it because I hope it proves me wrong. Seriously.
And I'm with you on that also, because I felt the same way about Heath Ledger. I didn't know if he was going to be able to pull off a convincing Joker, which he did. And I was the same way about Michael Keaton. I was like, this guy's not Batman, but he is. He is Batman. And he still is Batman. I mean, I was like, how did this guy pull it off? Because, see, Michael Keaton was known for doing these cheesy little more comedic roles. I didn't see him as someone who could pull off, and not only was he a good Batman, he was an excellent Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And
true.
that's the thing that we haven't seen a lot. We haven't seen somebody who could encompass both characters. So I'm with you. I like to give them a chance and to see what happens. And if it's with a really good director, if I feel like the movie is in good hands, I will trust their choices until they prove me wrong.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
Tremble Dust, I feel like, is speaking almost for Eddie at this point. If Eddie was here, I think this is exactly what he would say, because he says here, not saying you shouldn't go in a bit tentative due to how Marvel has been doing with the success of their movies lately, but would still watch and make your own opinions after. And I can hear that, right? It's, you know, I say that about Eddie because Eddie was talking to me about that, about Star Wars content lately. He's definitely not excited for the new Star Wars show that's coming, Acolyte, because some of the last couple shows he just has not enjoyed. So to him, that's a track record. It's a trend, right? And once things start to get on a trend, it is very easy to be like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. Is this just another Marvel blunder? But they're also trying to pick up their socks a little bit. Kevin Feige's back in the driving seat. I feel like they've started to recognize that more quantity over quality is not helping their brand. And if they don't shift gears soon, it'll kill that universe. And so one of these movies is going to change the course of Marvel back, I think, in the right direction. Maybe it'll be this one. Maybe it won't be. It doesn't matter how good of an actress Julia Garner is or what you think of a female Silver Surfer or not. If the script is terrible, if the movie's shit, it's just shit. And if it's good, heck yeah, let's be excited.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I actually sent you the story was because obviously we had talked about it when it was rumored with the Anya Taylor-Joy thing, but also because I remember speaking about it with you and telling you, oftentimes when they're casting this, they'll kind of say like, this is kind of our dream casting, but we'll go for someone that has a similar type or vibe or aesthetic or acting talent that's similar. So I think that's what they ultimately ended up with. I know that the leaker guy who originally put out that information about Anya Taylor-Joy, they asked him, hey, what happened? I thought it was Anya Taylor-Joy. And he was like, oh, she passed. So it's like, it's possible they do tend to reach out to these actors and say, hey, are you interested? And it's very, it's either if they are interested, they'll talk dollars and then they go from there. If not, they quickly just decline and move on to someone who has a similar vibe or aesthetic, right? So that's kind of, I think, what happened here.
Absolutely. Guys, well said. Great points. Thanks so much for contributing in the chat as well, everybody. Love seeing all your points. Thanks for having some banter back and forth, but keeping it respectful. I definitely appreciate that, guys, as well. That's really awesome. Let's move on, but let us know, are you excited for this casting? Are you excited to see a female Silver Surfer? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments after the show as well if you're watching it on replay. I love hearing from you guys, okay? Let's move into some figure news. 1/6 scale figure news. I want to shout out one of our channel members here, Collector Joey, because he has put in a hell of amount of time and effort into some of these slides. Now, I know there are folks out there that say this is immediately fake news because, let's be honest, Sideshow shifts around their due dates and their timelines all the freaking time. They do all the time. The amount of time, by the time Joey put this slide together, they probably shifted one of these timelines. So, great job, buddy. Thank you so much for putting it together. I stole this without asking his permission, but I've seen that he's done it on his own show already, so hopefully he doesn't mind. If you do, maybe no, I can't give you an extra duck in the race. No, that would be mean to say. But guys, I wanted to quickly peek at this because I was curious if, for either of you, if you guys are excited about any of the things that are supposed to at least possibly be coming from Sideshow in the next little while in Hot Toys. For me, I've got a couple of these on order. So I've got the Bane on order, which I'm really excited about. The Keaton Batman. I've never had a Keaton Batman in my collection. I got to see one in hand and play with one once, but that was it. I had to give it back to my friend, and I didn't get to keep it. So I'm really excited about having a Keaton Batman in the collection as well. And then I think, as far as the rest of them, the only other one that, well, I should say 3 that I'm kind of considering that I haven't actually put money in on yet. I was considering the She-Hulk just because I think it's a really unique character, despite my not so much love for the show itself. The yellow and red, or the mustard Daredevil, I think is pretty freaking cool looking, but I just haven't pulled the trigger on him yet. And the Batmobile. I did choose to skip on the Jazz Inc. Batmobile, so I did put myself on the wait list for the Hot Toys one. We'll see if it converts or not.
I'm on the wait list for that one too, and has not converted, and I went on it for like like kind of right after it went waitlist. So I don't know what's going on, man. I'm like, and I'm thinking about it now. I'm like, I don't know where I'm gonna get it if I do get it. I'm like, if anyone knows, let us know. Because now with Sideshow, it's like it goes waitlist and sometimes it doesn't come back. So
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh,
Absolutely.
I didn't order the Batmobile because I kind of figured Batman, he drives too much. He really needs a little exercise. So he chooses to walk or maybe jog, or maybe even swing on his bat robe. So that's how he's going to get his exercise.
Can you imagine seeing Keaton in that rubber outfit jogging down the street? It would be so awkward to watch. It'd be so awkward
And
to watch.
also, look, I mean, they do say, aren't you supposed to get like 10,000 steps a day? Well, this encourages him to get his 10,000 steps a day.
Classy, are you waiting for any of these at all? Is there any on this list that you're waiting for?
I am. I'm having to strain to look because the pictures are a little small on my screen. But
Sorry, do you want me to send it to you in Messenger?
No, I think I can see it well enough. Of course, I've ordered the Black Panther, She-Hulk, Bane. Is that the rooted Anakin thing that they did?
The Padawan Anakin there.
Okay, I know I have the ordered the rooted one. I don't know if
That one's not on this list yet. Oh, yeah.
Okay, and that's the new
Artisan
Spider-Man
one you're thinking
suit.
Yep. The final
So
scene.
The final scene. So I have that one. I've got Groot. I think that's the Holiday Mantis.
Yep.
Keaton Batman, the Mighty Thor.
Holy shit, you got a big month coming up.
I do. Catwoman
Oh my god.
coming up. And I think that might. Oh, and of course Daredevil. So I think those are all the ones that I have on order, and I'm excited about all of them. I'm very excited about getting my Shulk, and as well as Bane, because I really want to see how they do the She-Hulk body. I know it's going to be seamless, and that one is going to be really, really, really cool. And I want to see what size she is, because I hope that she really is. I hope she towers above most of the regular male figures. I know she's not going to be as big as Hulk, but I hope that she's at least bigger than all the male figures. So that's going to be very, very cool. And then, of course, Shuri is Black Panther, because I've got a Black Panther display over here, which is nothing but Black Panther.
Wow.
And so I'm going to have them sitting there, got my little Black Power thing going on over there. Got some little African, mask and stuff hanging up there. So
Got some vibes to it. I love it.
I got the vibe going on, man. I got to do my thing.
That's awesome.
Got
That's
to
awesome.
do
Man.
it.
That's awesome. What would you say then, Classy, before I go to Jose? What's your most anticipated on this list? What do you think you're looking forward to most?
Okay, it would be between She-Hulk and the final scene Spider-Man suit.
All right. Good picks, buddy. Good picks. Jose, what are you most excited for on this list? Or if you want to run us down on some of these ones that you got on order, love to hear it.
So I got too many on order. It's kind of embarrassing. But
I'll just take the whole slide off.
Yeah. Just I'm taking everything. No, actually, I got both Obi-Wans for sure. Bane, Mace Windu, Black and Red, Spidey, Keaton Batman, Mighty Thor,
Nice.
Yellow and Red, Daredevil, and I think that's it. So I don't know how many that is, but it's too many. Obviously, I mentioned that I do want to get the Batmobile, but I don't have it on order. In terms of which ones I'm looking forward to the most, I mean, you kind of got it there with the Michael Keaton. I haven't had a Michael Keaton figure ever. I've seen them up close as well, but I've never had one. I almost bought one. I think a friend, some guy was selling one for. It was the Batman Returns one, but he wanted like $600 and I remember I talked to him about it, and then he was like, I was trying to talk him down a little bit, but he didn't. He was like really like, this was stern, you know what I mean? Like, no, like I'm not. And I was like, oh man.
Here in Canada, that's like 800 loonies.
Yeah. But we talked about it, and eventually I just like, oh, you know what? Just sell it to someone else. He ended up selling it. So he sold it. So I'm excited for that. So I think that would be that one, the Spider-Man and the Bane, probably my most anticipated. And then the Daredevil, obviously, as I was mentioning. Yeah. If I get that Spider-Man and that Daredevil, like I was mentioning earlier, that'd be perfect.
Absolutely. And I'm seeing quite a few of the same, like the She-Hulk for sure, the Keaton Batman for a lot of folks. Batmobile in there. That is the Armory Batman in there as well. I'll be curious. I feel like that's going to get delayed. Honestly, I'm surprised it's still on the list. But
Bruce Wayne,
CrossFit Bruce Wayne,
Thrawn's office.
Absolutely, Thrawn's office. That's right. I wonder if the Kang is also going to come out when it's supposed to, or if that's going to get pushed just because of some of those challenges that actor is having right now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think the money's already there, so I don't think that they're going to change it too much. I forgot about Shuri. I want to pick her up because I also have a Black Panther display, but I'm like, I thought she looked a little weird in the suit, honestly, even at the end of the film. I don't know what it was, but I think the figure looks really amazing, so we'll see. And then my Bane is also... I've got the Bane 1.0, and that figure, I absolutely love that figure. In fact, my non-collector friends, when they come over, two of the figures that they're most gravitated to often, which is weird because I've got a lot of great figures here, is the Nightmare Batman, the Batfleck Nightmare Batman, and that Bane. For some reason, people gravitate to those two figures, and maybe it's because of the cool jackets that they have on or what, but...
Yeah.
It's still a great figure. I do think this Bane 2.0, though, will be one of the best figures that comes out this year. So I'm very excited to get that one and eventually swap it out like I did with my Joker. But yeah, guys, let us know if you're watching on replay. What figures of these are you most excited for? For the folks out there, keep in mind, some of these dates will change. This is not biblical in the sense of this will happen 100% this month on these dates or else. These things can change. But big thank you to Collector Joey once again for putting in the hard work and time to find all of these pictures and dates, because it does take a lot of time to put these shows together. So I appreciate that he lets us borrow them sometimes for some of these shows.
It makes me a little nervous seeing them, but sometimes I'm like, I tell myself most of them are getting delayed, so it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's like me trying to convince myself everything's okay.
Right.
So.
Absolutely. And yes, I do have Savick on the way, Collection Obsession. I am excited about her. Hopefully she doesn't get delayed. When I get them through Sideshow, for whatever reason here in Canada, it takes a really friggin' long time to get here. So, but we have 60 people watching live. Thank you so much, guys. We have 2 more pieces of figure news, and then we're going to be doing our Duck Race channel member giveaway. So stick around here for about another half an hour, 40 minutes, and we will be doing that Duck Race. It's a minute-long race with 33 ducks. It's going to be friggin' epic. I also wanted to highlight, because I've seen some people mentioning it here in the chat, is delays. Because honestly, I'm plagued with delays right now. It feels like right now I just got the delay notice for my Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which is probably a good thing because it means that I'll get the Batch 2 version, hopefully. But I was disappointed because I've got my Green Goblin sitting there waiting for his Spider-Man to come and hang out with him, and no such luck, unfortunately. I'm waiting for my C-3PO. I'm still waiting for my Kenobi Vader. I'm still waiting for Padme. I've got a lot that I'm just anticipating is going to hit the collection any day now, but no dates really in mind here from Sideshow, at least, which is where I get most of my figures from, because for me here in Canada it's kind of the easiest way to get them on. But have you guys had any issues with any delays lately? Any figures that you're you thought you'd have by now but you're kind of bummed that haven't arrived yet? Let us know in the chat for you guys as well. What figures are delayed that you kind of thought you'd already have in the collection at this point?
The first one that comes to mind right away is Catwoman. I have not got the Hathaway Catwoman.
I forgot about Catwoman. Yes,
I have not got that one.
I
even got.
Oh my God.
I put the Bat Pod when it was there was a discount on Sideshow for 35% off. And then I had points, so I put it on a payment plan for a few months, thinking, oh, by the time I finish paying it off, I'll have the Catwoman. And nope. It's not even here yet. The Bat Pod's here now. I finished paying it off, and she's still not here. So I don't know what's happening there, but it's fine because, there's always other things that are coming in. So I'm okay with the delays, but that's one for sure right off the bat that I know I haven't got yet.
Absolutely. X-Men Supreme says, I'm glad to know that the So-So Mr. Knight is finally starting to move. That figure is freaking awesome.
Are you getting that, Ben?
I am.
I am getting that one to go with my Moon Knight. I really like it. And I thought the Oscar Isaac head sculpt actually turned out really strong. So very happy. And it's classy. It sounds like you're getting that one too, which is cool. So
I'm still waiting on my Moon Knight.
You're waiting on the Moon Knight?
Yes, I'm waiting on Moon Knight. Well, of course.
Oh my goodness.
Now, of course, mine is coming from the place who shall not be named. But,
Yes,
but
yeah.
so I'm going to reach out.
I need a skull and crossbones emoji to pop up for us here, So.
But the thing too is that you were mentioning a lot of the figures you were expecting, and I told you I think on Marco's show that I had got a lot of them already, and it's strange because sometimes this happens to me a lot where Sideshow will hit me and they'll hit me with like 3 all at once, and so I get them all kind of like around the same time. And it's just like, I was glad to get them quickly. Like the Kenobi Vader I got already, the Padme I got already, the Black Adam I got already. So I got them all, but I got them all the same week. And I was like, whoa. So it just felt so overwhelmed. So then I haven't got anything since then. So now I'm kind of just like, oh, okay. But I'm kind of okay.
Who did you order your Black Adam from?
The Sideshow. All of them were
Really?
Sideshow.
Oh,
yeah.
because I'm still waiting on Black Adam.
But the problem is that you're over there and I'm over here in Southern California.
Oh,
and so
they just walk it down the street to the guy, basically.
Yeah,
so.
basically.
Yeah.
And since they like me and they don't like Ben, they're like,
They
oh,
definitely don't
Jose
like me."
Plus ordered this.
Yeah.
Oh, got it. So they send it to him.
Okay.
I get no influencer badges on anything. That's
No,
okay. That's fine. Nobody wants the influencer. It's interesting too because you guys brought up the Catwoman, and it was Danny Spotchka that mentioned the Black Adam. So that's 6 figures that I'm anticipating are going to be hitting my collection any day now. But I did get my Black Adam through Pop Culture because I waited too long through Sideshow. So that one might be a little further up.
You went with the black one, right? With the cloak?
I did go with the black one, yeah. Honestly, because I liked that scene the most in the film. I thought that was where while he was still kind of not at his full power yet, I liked how badass he was with the hood up and fighting all those guys in that first main scene, when he's revealed. I thought it was really, really cool. So,
It's a
really
dope
like that
figure.
hood. I really did like that hood, but I did the black and gold. Well, I ordered the black and gold one. I think it's the deluxe, with the one with the throne room. So I'm kind of I'm hoping on the secondary market that I can actually find one of those cowls, or not cowl, the one with the hood, because I believe that Hot Toys should have included that as my things like this is, if you're getting the top of the line, you should receive everything down the line is getting, plus your stuff. So the fact that they didn't kind of get that hood, I'm kind of annoyed by that.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I was worried about.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just
going
going
to
to say that
we're horrible today. I'm sorry. You go.
No, I was just going to say it's just because it's not accurate, Classy, right?
Yeah.
So he wasn't wearing that.
Wasn't
so.
wearing it in the.
Well, yeah, but it may not be accurate, but I still want it.
I think the only thing that's worrying the only thing that's worrying me about my Black Adam choice is, even though I liked that scene better and I think I like the suit more, from what I've seen of reviews on the 2 figures, the emblem, the lightning bolt emblem on the gold version, stands out a lot more when it's lit, whereas the black version looks really kind of crusty and dark and doesn't show the full symbol when it's lit. It's because again, in the movie he's kind of powering up, he's not at full power yet, so it makes sense. But I think for a visual aesthetic, I would have liked to see it with a little bit of a brighter light on the black version. But again, that's the only one
cool,
piece
though.
that I'm a little worried about.
Exactly.
So, and you're right. I think it will still be cool. Kitty Pryde is the best X-Men. Says, for me, it's the Toys Era Aerith. Which I'm not familiar with that figure, but that sounds pretty cool. A couple of folks here in the chat saying that they're waiting on 3-0 figures. 3-0 MDLX figure paid off 3 months ago directly from 3-0, and nothing yet. I hate to see it. Padme is a couple people are saying, so sounds like we're not in the we're all in kind of the same boat, unfortunately. One Adam 12th says here, Kenobi Vader and Padme, also waiting for Rick Grimes season 7 from 3-0. Which also just got delayed. So delays are part of the game, unfortunately, and that's why we were talking about Joey's slides before this, because again, it goes to show you that oftentimes, even though these dates are listed, they change quite often. But then, like Jose said, you got to be a little careful and make sure you're planning for it, because if you're like me, all of a sudden I'm still going to have 6 different Sideshow shipping charges this month and customs charges over the border. So that's about between the 2 charges, it's about $100 Canadian. So that's about $600 that's going to come off the credit card this month. Just kind of what feels like out of nowhere.
Wait,
right?
What did you say the 6 ones, the 6 figures were? Do you remember all of them?
Black Adam, Catwoman, Padme, C-3PO, Darth Vader, Kenobi, and who was the other one? I don't remember the 6. There was another one. I don't remember. But
Hey,
yeah,
hey Ben, I was
C-3PO is another one for me.
C-3PO.
because you're actually more towards the West Coast, right? That's where.
Yeah, I'm on the west coast of Canada.
You're on the West Coast. I don't know if you've ever thought of doing this. Now, have you ever thought of, like, if you're close to the border, seeing if there's a friend who could maybe pick them up and drive it to the border, and then y'all just swap off there? Or
Yeah, so there's actually a place just across the border here. You go through a place called Medicine Hat, and then it's about an hour outside of Medicine Hat, which crosses the border, and it's basically like you can rent like a box, like a PO box almost, in the States to have things like dropped off at. You go across the border, stay for a day, stay for a weekend, and you can bring higher value items back without customs charges. But that also then requires a weekend away in the States. So like for me, I don't do that necessarily. I have reached out. I got my girlfriend a collectible figure from Sideshow. She really likes Adventure Time. So she basically, I got her this like Jake Adventure Time 12-inch figure that she's super excited about. But I went to I put myself on the wait list about half a year ago. It finally actually converted, so I went to pay it, and it said it doesn't ship to Canada. So I had to reach out to Zach from Collecting Weekly. I'm going to get it sent to Zach, and then Zach's going to pirate ship it over to me here. So, or that's what he told me. I don't know if that actually exists, but I'm like, sounds cool. So, but yeah, that's only happened to me one time ever though, through Sideshow. So
Wanda is another one I'm waiting on. X-Men Supreme brought her up. Yeah.
Multiverse of Madness Wanda.
Multiverse?
Yeah.
Oh, me
I'm
too.
also waiting on her. Man, I've got so many figures on the way. I gotta calm it down a little here, guys. Having a show, it's one of those things you hate to
She
see.
hasn't. Have they even released her yet?
Yeah,
mean,
she's been out for a while.
She has Multiverse of Madness?
Yeah, she's been out for a while.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm mad.
Yeah. Oh, Classy's mad. Mad Classy.
Yeah,
Guys,
I'm
let's
mad.
move on.
Classy.
We got two more pieces of figure news, and then we're going to do the duck giveaway. Thanks for sticking around with us, guys. Hope you're enjoying the show so far. Let's take a look at the Inart final reveal of their Pattinson Batman figure. We've talked about this the last 2 weeks because, we've been getting progressively closer. We do keep kind of hearing that, he's on the way. We saw that teaser image of shipper boxes, basically, and art boxes on a pallet, but that was never totally verified by Inart as to whether they were real or not. But it does look like the boxes in behind the figure there. Good call. So we think that's real, but it's interesting because, I stream a lot with Marco and Shane and some of those other guys, and they constantly talk about controlling the message. And I think that's really the biggest takeaway I have from this final figure preview, because this isn't a release. This isn't like a, hey, we've released it, here are the final images. This is still kind of just the final pictures to get us amped for it. But I actually think for a lot of collectors, it's done the opposite. It's made us ask more questions.
Yeah.
Some of the photos are good, but they're not really totally highlighting the strengths of each figure. Photos like this make this guy look like he's wearing a bathrobe. They took a lot of time to line up accessories for us, which makes for kind of cool pictures. But when we're all waiting for this figure, I looked back, I pre-ordered this, I think it was September of 2022. So we're getting well beyond what feels like, to me anyways, a normal figure release. And I'm starting to lose patience, to be honest. If I see the Hot Toys Pattinson Batman at my local shop soon, I may just pick that one up and call it a day, because it's also a really cool freaking figure. But I'm trying to be patient, guys. I'm trying to be patient. Jose's shaking his head. No, don't be crazy, man. You'll regret that decision.
You tend to do that a lot, though. You second guess yourself.
I second guess it. I know. That's why I have these streams.
You already
I need to
waited
hear from you guys.
You already waited. I mean,
years,
the Hot Toys version is really good. I've seen it. It's really good. And had you not ordered the other one, I think maybe you could just go ahead and get that. But I feel like you already waited this long.
Yeah.
I might as well just wait a little longer. That's what I think personally.
That's true.
Because then you're going to lose that NRD. How many NRDs are you going to lose, Ben? How many more are you going to lose? Because you keep doing that. So
I know. I have lost a couple lately. I probably lost about $70 this past year in NRDs, which does feel really stupid. It's like throwing your money off the balcony, honestly. It's not worth it. You are right. Now, I would say that obviously I think the community has been pretty divided on this, because I do think that even in this photo, most of the head sculpts look a little different. They're not all futzed the exact same way. Now, again, if this is production ready, we're all going to get quite a various range of looks with our figures coming. And unlike unlike the Joker, which can have, you know, a little bit more of crazy hair. I guess his hair was under a cowl, so it can be permitted up to a certain extent that he's got a little bit of craziness going on. But I don't want to necessarily have to futz with my hair. So I had actually purchased the, I think it was called the premium edition of this figure, which comes with the sculpted hair. From these photos, I'm actually excited about that.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, I'll probably display him with his cowl on anyways. I think my biggest disappointment with these reveal photos was that they didn't give us a photo that actually showed him with the cape and the cowl on, like full finished figure. It still feels very teasy, and I don't love that. But I think that Inart might this time be just dropping the ball with their communication, because we've seen other figures that they've put out where the photos didn't look super great at first, and then they turned out to be amazing. And then there's figures like the Joker figure, that 4-pack Joker, where they had like a whole like video associated with that pre-order, which was like one of the coolest like figure preview videos I've ever even seen. So it's like, why are you guys changing the ways that you get us excited about this shit? Like, you've already got me on the hook for the money. I'm excited. Just show us some good pictures and I'll be happy as a clam.
And did you notice that the Batman in the back, his battering is missing?
Oh, I didn't notice that. Oh,
And
yeah,
I'm
it is.
sitting
Yeah,
here-
look at that.
Yeah, it's like, you know, why are you going to
Good eye.
show us? Yeah, why are you going to show us things that are? I mean, show us a
incomplete.
completed picture.
Still
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like they asked somebody that was in the assembly line. He's like, "Hey, can you take a couple shots that we can put on social media?" And someone was
Probably.
like, "All right, sure." And they just took a couple shots, and they're like, "Great!" And then, let's show them to everybody. Let them know it's coming. And it wasn't actually a professional that actually had it in a light box, and and it wasn't one of those things. It was just somebody's like, "Take some really good shots of the accessories." Oh, I got you, and
Yeah,
this is kind of what we got.
They are cool picture. I like this one in particular. It's a cool picture, but I don't know. I would have really liked to see what it looks like on him. But Classy, I thought you had the worst vision of all of us here. And look at you laser eye over there, finding that. I love to see it. He's been lying to us this whole time, people. He's been lying to us. Yeah,
He's faking it.
He's faking it. That's awesome. Jose, what are your thoughts on this figure? I mean, you've given us a little bit already, and I think you talked me off the ledge at least a little bit for sure.
now, unless you want
for
both
now.
of them, unless you're gonna
Don't really
pull
want
Marco.
both. I don't want both. I don't need 4 Jokers like Marco has. I've already got 3. Like, I don't need 5 of these. Like, no. I love Marco, but no, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think
What are
you
your
should
thoughts, buddy?
definitely wait on it. I think I went the same way. I got the sculpted version, so I'm seeing at the photo there. It's the combination of both the premium and the sculpted version there. So I went for sculpted ultimately because I felt like I was satisfied with getting just the sculpted. I wasn't a true believer of the rooted hair just yet. Now I did think about it, a few weeks ago, and I was like, maybe I should have done that. I think that's something that Marco was struggling with. We talked about, he was like, he had ordered the sculpted. He felt that, it's just going to be in the box anyways. We're going to have him with the cowl on anyways. So, but I think he ultimately, felt like, oh man, but Inart's really showing with the rooted that's kind of the game changer now. So you should go with rooted for Inart, yada yada. But I think that now looking at those photos, I still feel like I made a good decision regardless. And I do, looking at the armor and looking at all that, I think it looks really, really great. Again, for the most part, I'm going to be using the cowl look anyways, unless I do go with the drifter, from Topo or from one of these other accessories, clothing accessory sets. So, and I'd go with the drifter look, but for the most part, he's going to be in the cowl. So I'm excited. I'm not too worried about these photos because as I mentioned, I do think that someone just took these photos and that was it. I don't think once we get someone who has it in hands, professionally shot, styles the hair, I think people are going to be happy. And then I was even looking, a friend of mine uploaded a photo looking at the Hot Toys sculpt and then this sculpt and then the skin texture. You just look next level in art. So I don't know how good the likeness will be once we see a comparison shot. Maybe one will definitively be better than the other. But in terms of the artistry here, I think that Inart's going to win.
But don't you think, and I agree with you, somebody probably did just come along, take some pictures, and it was like, yeah, let's get those out there. Let's let people know these are on the way. People are getting antsy. But then it, to me, feels like they don't know their market very well. Because, 1/6 scale collectors are some of the pickiest, and including myself, some of the pickiest group of people that I've ever met in the world. And that's because these things cost a lot of money. And we have choice, right? We have the option to pick the Hot Toys version on this figure. If this was their 150th release, sure, throw a couple pictures out there, let the collectors know it's on the way, let them fight it out amongst each other, and see, negative press is still press, right? It gets us all talking about this guy. But this is what, their 4th release, I think, at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4th. So at this point, like, you gotta give us your A game. This is the Batman, right? And if this makes anybody, even myself, question the weight, the cost, the company, any of those 3 things really, then they're possibly sacrificing some of that money back to Hot Toys and letting them take the win on it. Because Hot Toys got it out first, their figure is still friggin' awesome, and as I said, we still don't totally know what we're gonna get with this. So if this is the final pictures reveals before this thing is released, man, they're leaving it to the absolute last second and allowing the competition to give them or they're giving their competition at least some of the edge back, which I think is not smart for their 4th figure.
I gotta say this, being that Inart is an offshoot of a statue company, I can understand with a statue, it's very static. Once it's painted, you're going to see what it looks like. 6 scale figures are designed to move.
Yep.
Why are you going to show us a static picture in a museum pose of a figure that was designed to move?
That's a good
Those
point.
are the things that we as collectors want to see, because we're like, oh yeah, then that way our imaginations are gonna go, oh, this is how I can display it in my display. I can do this or I can do that. So you're right, they don't really understand their market as well, and they need to do a little bit better. Don't just show me a row of figures standing like that at attention. It doesn't get me excited about what I paid so much money for.
Well, and Inart might say, and they may counter that point, Classy, and say, well, the North American market isn't their market, right? These are made for Hong Kong. These aren't actually supposed to be distributed over to us. And so, yeah, okay, I think it would be a good cop-out excuse, but I do think, again, obviously 6-scale collectors are getting these in hand all over the world, whether or not they're licensed to be or not. And I agree with you. Things like blogger photos that show range of posability, what this figure looks like at all angles, different lighting, more professional shots are really what sell a figure to us, right? Like, that's what they're for. That's what they're for. And, I think, in a way, like, Inart has a lot of our money already, right? Because they've had a couple good releases. So most people felt like they could feel comfortable putting the money into this one. But then when this one makes us ask more questions, then it actually puts questions to bed. That, I think, is actually kind of an L for them. And so hopefully, as a newer company on the 6-scale side, they hear all the feedback from all the different shows and community members and Facebook forums and all of that stuff. And they maybe change it up. Because I would have rather not see anything at all than feel worried about my purchase at this stage in the game. So close. And don't give your competition an edge. I root for Hot Toys just as much as I root for Inart, because I've got both in my collection. I love both. But don't give them the edge, because it's making me want to go and find that other figure at this point.
And even though we may
don't do it.
Even though you might say that we are not their market, I get that. However, we are their market, because now with Paulo Atreides, they've opened up to international shipping, which basically says that this company realizes that they have collectors in more than just Asia.
We've been their side piece for a while. Now they want us to be their official girlfriend.
Exactly. And so and like with Paulo Atreides, it'll be interesting to see how, when that is released, if they give us the same crap like this. If they do this with the Paulo Atreides, that's going to really suck, because it's like, no, you clearly don't know your market then, because we want to see you hire somebody that's going to pose it, that's going to let us know this, or give us a video like that, like you said, like they did with the 4-pack Joker, with the Joaquin's Joker. I mean, do something that's going to get us excited. And if you still have figures available, you're going to encourage people to now pick them up. They want to sell out. They don't want to be like Hot Toys or like Sideshow that has shelves and shelves of old figures that they're trying to unload because they have too many of them. You want to sell out, and your project is so good that you should highlight it to its best. I mean, if I was dating Zendaya, for example, do you think that I want to? Do you think? Oh, I wish. Do you think I would want to show her off? Do you think I'd rather take her to a red carpet event, or would I rather take her to the supermarket? No, I want to show her off. I want to see her at her best, and I mean, Zendaya's gonna look good no matter what, but and I probably would be able to afford the supermarket, but I want to be with her when she's at her best. I want my figures when they're at their best.
That's awesome. I'm glad you rounded the corner on that, because as soon as you said Zendaya in the grocery store, I started to lose track a little bit. I was like, oh, I wonder. Interesting. Well said, guys. Great thoughts there. Thanks for the back and forth there as well. Definitely appreciate you guys. Let's move on to our last subject, or topic of the day, I should say, and then we are going to do our figure giveaway. So if anybody's listening to the show in the background, figure giveaway is going to happen in 10 minutes with the duck race of 33 ducks. Stay tuned. I'm excited to see how that plays out for sure. I wasn't able to put myself. I wish I could put myself in, but that figure has been sitting here staring at me for about 3 weeks, and you know how hard it's been to not want to pull it out of the really hard. So I can't wait to get it to one of my fellow channel members out there. Guys, we have 60 people still watching as well. Thank you so much for getting nuts with us here on Sunday. Once again, we definitely appreciate you guys. Of course, let's see here. One moment. Let me pull this up real fast. I'm going to skip one because we're running out of time here. This is the last thing I want to talk about today. We are looking at Anakin Skywalker from Hot Toys, the Clone Wars version, obviously from the Ahsoka television show. Now, this is the second time technically that we've had an opportunity to actually see an Anakin Skywalker with Clone Wars associated with it. The last one actually sat for quite a while, the singular figure. And then there was the Clone Wars version that came with the Stap, which was also pretty cool, especially because you could fit that in most displays. And I really liked that Anakin because of, he's a little aggressive. I thought the suit always looked really, really good. I did have that figure for a while though, and then I ended up actually selling it because I was changing my mind as to whether I wanted kind of more of like a prequel era or not of Star Wars, and I wanted to try and stick to original trilogy. But then this figure was announced this week, and I would argue this is one of the best likenesses of Hayden Christensen I've ever actually seen. But of his likeness now, where he's in his 40s and he's had a bit of a CGI airbrush, because it, to me, doesn't really look like Anakin from the past, but it does look like Anakin from the Ahsoka show, and in that I think it's pretty impressive. The other thing is that with this kind of soft and sullen look that he's got, he does this as a person in real life. Anytime I see him with pictures with guys like Jose here, he's got kind of that soft look to him. He's very rarely an aggressive looking dude. So it definitely looks like Hayden Christensen. But as an Anakin figure in your collection, is it the one that you need the most, or is it the most definitive, or those types of hot button questions that people ask? For me, I did a this or that video this week because I wanted to look at this figure, of course, versus the previous version. And I actually think that if you're a huge Anakin Skywalker Star Wars fan, you could technically have both in your collection, because this really is the first time we've had a chance to see him with a softer tone. This is his more mentor look, right, for young Ahsoka. And that young Ahsoka figure looks pretty badass as well if you're planning on getting it. Whereas the past version could maybe be in a bit of a different display and still have use, or even have a different head sculpt for him, just in general. I think last thing that I'll say that I really do appreciate about this new figure, while the paint applications are amazing. The hair sculpting on this
Yes.
is insane. It looks so good. There was that teaser photo, do you remember, Classy, where they showed him from behind? I don't think I have it, unfortunately, where they showed it from behind, and like people were asking, is this rooted hair? Like, what's going on?
I thought that was rooted when I first saw it. I was like, man, that is
It's so good.
Hot Toys has gotten so good at sculpting hair. I am so impressed with them.
Yeah. So
I mean,
I'm really happy.
Listen, I would not take him to the grocery store.
You wouldn't take him to the grocery
No.
store? Oh, I hate to see it. Well, if Zendaya's there, you don't want to take him to the grocery store. With these puppy dog eyes, look at that.
No
hate to see
way.
it.
That is beautiful.
And then, of course, Classy, he comes with the blaster effects as well, which
I love it.
at least in my recollection, I think this is the first time I've ever seen the blaster effects on the lightsaber like that. So I think
cool.
that looks very, very cool as well. Jose, I should say, Classy, are you planning on picking this one up? Do you have any other Anakins in the collection? What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, I have Anakin, the rooted Anakin that they did on order, but I would definitely be interested in this. I mean, because I have the young Ahsoka on order, and as soon as you said put them together, I said, oh, that would be really cool to actually have both of them together. So
Well, yeah, of course.
I may have to. I'm not a huge Star Wars collector, but he's a character I know. So I could actually see myself getting him.
Absolutely. And this is actually really cool. I kind of wish this table came with the figure. I think that would be
Yeah.
really neat. And even in this photo, like, he looks like a real, like, legit person standing there. Like,
He
it's
does.
really friggin' impressive.
Oh, man.
If you had to choose, Classy, just as a this or that, since I did that video this week, do you have a preference between these two? Do you think you like one more than the other?
I think I like the newer version better.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I do. I like that a little bit better.
Softer expression, something different. Yeah,
he looks
absolutely.
nicer. I like Darth Vader when he was nice.
I like Darth Vader when he was nice. White Vader, we need it. Jose, what are your thoughts on Anakin Skywalker? This or that or both? What do you think in terms of this figure? Is this one that needs to come to the collection?
That was actually something I was debating with once I saw these photos. Once we saw the tease, I was like, oh man, they're going to give us another version. And I have the original, which I like. I still think it's like the likeness from the original Revenge of the Sith head sculpt that they used, and they just shortened the hair slightly there. So, I went for it because I do like the Clone Wars and I do love this armor. So that's why I bought that version. And I currently have them with Padme, even though technically it's not canon that way. But I think they look great together. And actually, it's funny because I did a poll on my page to kind of just to gauge what other people would say. I was like, should I get the new one? And it was kind of funny because I felt like maybe because of the expression, a lot of people are feeling like you can pass on this version because the results were pretty like one-sided. Most people, I think it was like 83%
It was very
said,
mixed.
83% said to go ahead and keep the original. So I'm still debating, but I don't think I'd keep both of them. I do love Anakin Skywalker, but if I were to get one, if I got the new one, I would probably sell the older version. Definitely at a loss, most likely. But I don't know. I think I might just keep what I have. Even though I do like this version, I do think that it's an upgrade in terms of the likeness. The gauntlets look better. So, there's certain aspects about it. And as you mentioned, the sculpting of the hair is incredible. I when I first saw it, I definitely thought it was like, is that rooted? But I took a look at it and I was like, oh, that's sculpted, but that's amazing. So
It is,
yeah.
Man.
We recently saw with the Harrison Ford figure as well that they're working on hand texturing a lot more now as well. So if they're moving this direction with sculpted hair and with hand textures and sculpted hands and stuff, like these figures, I mean, every year they get measurably better. But like I still kind of wonder like where the peak is. Like, when will it get to the point where like that this is as good as this technology can be in 6 scale? Because again, even looking around my room, when I think back to figures that I got 8 years ago versus the figures now, it's pretty impressive that the vast difference. This Anakin Classy on the left, the original Clone Wars version, came out in 2017. So I'm like, okay, 2017 is not that long ago, but then you think, actually, that was 7 years ago. Holy shit, that is a long time ago already. And you can see why there is still that 7-year improvement in paint apps in both the hair and on the skin texture. So I don't think that this is the best Hot Toys sculpt, I think that there have been other sculpts that resonated with me better, but I do think that this is the best likeness to Hayden Christensen, at least in his current stage of life. So I'm excited for this one. I'm excited to see collectors make the choice to pick this one up. But guys, we're finally here. We're at the end of the show, and before we wrap the show today, we have lots of channel members that have been great members with me over the last couple of months already. 33, in fact. None of the members signed up, in my opinion, for just the possible chance at a reward. You guys have all been members for a little while. So thank you so much for contributing. I'm going to continue to do giveaways going forward here. I think the channel right now, we're at 3,800, almost at 3,900 subscribers. So I am looking at pairing with a company maybe for the 4,000 subscriber mark to get a couple more giveaways put out there as well. So stay tuned, of course, if you don't happen to win today. But guys, what I've done here is I've taken the 33 channel members and I've plugged in the duck race for a minute. Now, any of you guys have out there, if you have not seen a duck race before, I have absolutely no control over what duck wins. You literally just plug the numbers in random sequence, set your time, and hit enter and watch them race. So whoever wins, wins. If you decide that you don't want a king shark, maybe you already have one and you want to have us play again, we will play again. It does take about 15 minutes for me to reset up the deck race. So I think what happens is if you win and you want to gift it to one of our other channel members, let me know in the comments after the show, and I will announce that officially later.
I have a better solution for you.
Sure.
If they decide that they want to gift it, it automatically defaults to me.
Oh, just go straight to Classy.
Yeah, just go straight to Classy.
And as I said, I have absolutely no bearing on who wins a duck race. So if anybody, even on the current panel, because Jose and Classy are both channel members as well, and they have been kind of right from the start, if they win it, they also win it. It's not rigged. I have no control over these damn ducks. So guys, with all that said, I just want to make sure that's as clear as humanly possible.
If I win it, I have a king shark, so
then it goes.
We'll see. We'll have an interesting thing. I have an idea. If I win.
Yeah.
Okay.
So. Yeah. Jose wins. His good buddy Classy Thomas. He's gonna favor him, aren't you, buddy?
Yeah.
Right, pal. Right, my good friend.
Are you guys ready? Look at all these ducks. Look at them all. They're so cute. You love to see it. You guys can see it on the screen, no problem. Perfect. Guys, are you ready? On your marks. Get set. Let the member challenge go. Go. Oh my god. We got SpongeBob SquareBalls coming out in the front. Look at him. He looks so... Oh my god.
Look, I told you I wanted that king shark, buddy.
Collecting weekly. Looks like
wow.
Rudolph. Wow.
Obsessions.
Oh, Frosty the Snowman. Action in the box.
Oh man.
37 seconds. Who's going to pull up? The underscore Empire Strikes is coming back as well. Like the collection obsession's really trying hard. Oh, 14 Wellington. Look at him too.
Kenneth Jacobson is pulling up there. Look at
20 seconds left. This is crazy. Look at the dude. Look at the duck with the cigar. That's amazing. 14 Wellington. Go, go, go.
14 Wellington is right up. Oh, I think he's in the lead now.
8 seconds left. He ran out of steam.
Oh man, Rachel Miller now.
Honest Hansel. Oh, 2 seconds left.
Oh,
Honest Hansel wins.
Wow.
There we go. Honest Hansel wins the king shark. That is awesome, guys. Honest, if you're here, let us know. As I said earlier in the show, we're going to give it to him anyways. If for whatever reason you don't want it or you want to gift it to one of the other channel members, please let me know after the show and we will do so. Also, please poke me on Instagram or on YouTube so that I can get your address. I need to be able to ship it to you. So I don't totally want to be poked. That was the wrong choice of words. Okay. But congratulations to Honest Ansel for being the first Ben Thomas Show channel winner of all time. The very first.
Good job.
That was fun to watch. I like those ducks. ducks. That was pretty cool. Guys, with that said, that is the show for today. Of course, if you are here with us, you're already watching The Ben Thomas Show, but please consider subscribing if it's your first time here with us. Of course, I'm trying to get to the 4,000 subscribers, and then we're going to do another channel giveaway. These are our channel members with us already, the Tough Nut Crew, the Ducks that you just saw in the race. We got Alvin J, Collecting Weekly, Money Mendez, Six Scale Mafia, Katera, Feezy's Figures, King Dingling, Sith Scale Collector, Paul Schreiber, The Batman, The Movie Canon, 1/6 Figure Focus, SpongeBob Square, Bowles, The _ Empire Strikes, Peter Cass, Ryan Smith, Collector Joey, Sam Gist, 14 Wellington, Jose G. Hernandez, 12-inch Moose Stream, Collection Obsession, Blurred Dad Life, Danny Spotchka, Rachel Miller, Honest Hansel, Action in the Box, Figurecraft, Neilerific, Action Figure Academy, X-Men Supreme, Don Maton, and Kenneth Jacobson. Guys, if you're interested in becoming a channel member for future giveaways or just to support the channel, the link is in the comments there now. Please consider doing so. If not, I just appreciate the fact that you guys watch week over week and have fun with us getting nuts here on Sundays. Classy, is there anything coming up for you, good sir, that we can look forward to this week?
Well, I still have projects going. I think, I did start on, I think I mentioned on After Dark that I had ordered from a well, it's some sort of company that sends you a monthly thing for different parts. And I ordered the 66 Batmobile in, I think it's like 1/7 scale or 1/8 scale. And I also ordered a 60, was it? It's either 63 or 67 Mustang. And so I have two parts that I assembled on my, I received two parts and I've assembled them for the Batmobile. I have two parts on my Mustang, which I'm going to do tonight. And then I'll be waiting for next month for my next two pieces. So I've started that process. I'm really excited over, and it's die cast, which is really, really cool. So when I finish, I will actually have a finished vehicle, which I can put in my collection with some figures. So I'm working on that. I also have some figures that I have kind of worked on and are completing. The one thing that I want to work on this week, and I want to make it a priority. I have everything finished on her, except for the head sculpt, and that is my Storm. I have the punk rock. I've made a punk rock Storm. I just need to do her. Yeah, I actually just need to do her head, paint her head, and then give her a mohawk. So I need to do a little bit of sanding and do some finishing work on that. But the body's actually done. I already have her together. So if I can get her done, then I will definitely be posting that, because I have wanted a real Storm in my collection. And the punk rock Storm is actually one of my favorites, second to her original costume. So we'll see where I head from, where I go. But
can you send me some pictures, Classy? If you're on next week, I can pull some of the progress pictures up. At least that'd be cool to see.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'll send you a few pictures.
If you want to share.
I'll send you a few pictures of where she is right now.
Cool.
And then as I work on her, then I'll show you some finish shots. So yeah,
I work in the painting industry, so before and afters are a thing for me. So that's awesome. That's awesome, buddy. Thank you so much for being here, Classy. As always, keeping the conversation real strong today, buddy, and I appreciate you. I'm glad you had that nap ahead of time. And now we all know that you're lying about your vision and can see like a laser.
Look, today's a good day with the eyes. Sometimes I have good days, and sometimes
that's what they all
Classy,
say.
I'm assuming you're watching X-Men 97, right? And you're watching those episodes with Storm and Life, Death, and all that.
Yes.
So good.
Oh, yes.
It's been awesome. It's been awesome.
Very cool.
Jose, as well, good sir, thank you for being a channel member. Thanks for being a panelist with me so often, and thanks for being here today, buddy. Anything coming up for you this week that you're excited about? Want to share with us?
Well, I'm usually always on Monday with Shane on the Hope Show. He likes having a segment with me called the Face the Fact Checker. So we have that segment, which he makes me a little nervous sometimes, but it's fun. It's fun. So definitely check me out on Mondays there with Shane. I appreciate him and you guys giving me the opportunity to stream with you guys. So thank you, and it's always fun. So thank you guys.
Always fun. Guys, with that said, for the 38 people left remaining, I want to say thank you guys. Thank you to everybody that stopped in today. Thank you also to everybody who watches the show on replay. This show usually has really great legs for a couple days after. So when you're getting a chance to watch it, I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're having fun with us. We definitely appreciate you guys. But Classy Thomas, I think it's safe to say, buddy, that we got nuts. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Wow, what a great audience. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already.
Where's I go? What do I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. It's gone. It's all gone.